Alright, 3, 2, 1, sync.
Sync.
We're including that.
Yeah, that's in.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, alright. Welcome back. Triple Baka podcast no Nyuu desu. Introduce yourselves again.
Hello, I am Tom. I make video game videos.
And you, Dudar.
Hi.
and I'm that guy. We're jumping straight into it.
Yeah, we should mention that if the audio sounds weird in this episode, it's because we're all sitting in the same room.
We're all in person, coming at you live.
Yeah, from here, sitting on the floor.
This is the ideal setup for a podcast. No studio, just floor.
Yeah. God, this is gonna sound awful, but it's gonna be worth it.
We're on the floor, huddled around like one mic.
Yeah.
with a pop filter on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope the pop filter's
I'm
doing
like
the
too
work.
close to the mic compared to you, and would be way too loud. Though we can normalize it.
Wait,
Yeah.
You're like farther away from it.
No, I'm really close to the mic.
Yeah. You gotta lean in. I'm the closest to the mic. I'm already so fucking loud.
Kind of here. That should be good.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Anime.
Yeah, anime.
We can just. I mean, it could just be like a conversation. What's been up with anime?
So I have now watched episodes, like up to episode, I think it was 24 of Gundam.
Yeah.
And I would like to go back in time to when I said it was basically Evangelion and kick myself in the teeth.
It's all gone now.
The Evangelion is gone. It has changed completely. Gundam is still very interesting, but it's been really, like, kind of weird, because the show still looks like this, like, fucking, like, kids' toy show, but all of the characters are, like, really in-depth. Like...
It, like, starts to roll out the writing.
Yeah, and, like...
Tomino starts getting his brain going.
Yeah, he's, like, activating his almonds, and he's like, yes! I know what I'm doing now! And, like, it's, like, killing off, like, major cast members, and, like, all of the other ones are having, like huge crises, like, all the time. And, I don't know, it's turned into, like, this war of attrition on the white face, which is, like, where they are. Like, there's an entire moment where they're like, I need to repair the Gundam. And they're like, sorry, we can't do that anymore, lol. And so he has to fight with a broken Gundam. And that's just, like, one of the episodes. It's, like, amazing.
Like, is the broken Gundam like its own toy? Does it have like a
No, like there's no difference.
Oh, it just looks the same.
He just complains that like the Gundam, like he can't repair one of the parts, and then it never comes up again. They just forgot about it.
I was hoping for like an in construction Death Star thing where it's like a Gundam with like parts missing.
Yeah. Okay, so in the latest batch of episodes I watched, there's like a whole group of people that show up in the opening. Editor, put the shot of all the characters in the opening here.
You're gonna have now. You're gonna have to send me that.
Yeah, I'll send the editor it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'll relay it to the editor.
Yeah.
Editor doesn't have internet access.
Ever. He's not allowed. We locked him in the cage.
He's actually editing this right now.
Yeah.
Get back in the
Get back to work. Add some whip crack sound effects to that. But so there's this one guy. He's like a fat guy. His name is.
Put him in the tranquility box. He's too worked up.
No. He only gets 30 minutes of that a day.
Oh yeah, he's already used it up.
Yeah. Anyways, so there's the fat character. His name is Ryu. He like gets like shot in one of the episodes that I watched, and like I was like, haha, kids toy show, haha. The cast is all in the opening, haha. And like like you have expectations of this. Yeah. Like he hops into the gun tank and he fights with the Gundam every episode, Yeah. And it's like he's like one of the team, and like first off. Every interaction he has with the main character, Amuro, he fucking hates him. Like he's like, Amuro, you're a fucking idiot. I hate you. And I want you to die. Now go and get in the Gundam, you moron.
Which character is this?
This is like the fat guy. Okay. Yeah, you might have seen him in the opening. He's just like one of the teammates.
When does that guy with like the blonde hair and the sunglasses come in?
He's the main villain.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen a whole lot of him yet, but like he's been amazing so far.
Because that's why I want to watch the show.
Yeah, there's like an entire, like the first arc's like villain, the only reason the white base is able to beat him is because Char is like, I don't like that guy. I'm gonna set him up to die right now. And then he dies, and like in Zeon, which is like the country he's fighting for, it's like a national tragedy. They're like, oh my god, this great general and son of our overlord is dead. And it's like Char is like, he puts on the sunglasses and he goes to the bar and he's drinking and like watching it. Yeah. And he's like, yes. I am looking forward so much to seeing him. I think like one of the later episodes is called Char Returns, and I'm literally just like counting down the episodes.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to what I was saying about Ryu. Like, Ryu is shot and he's in the hospital and he's lying down on his cot and he's like, fuck it. I don't care anymore. And he gets up. He's like dying. He like gets up and he's like, I need to go and talk to Amuro. And they all, like, he walks over to Amuro's, like, cell, because Amuro is in prison for stealing the Gundam. That's another thing that happens. And he's like, Amuro, you're a little pussy-ass bitch. I hate you. I want you to die. And Amuro's like, what the fuck? Who is this man? And they, like, all the other crew members walk up to him and are like, all right, Grandpa, let's get you back to bed. And they, like, bring him back to the bed. And then like, he's like, no, I haven't said enough. And he gets a back up, and he starts walking out again. And this time he collapses on the bridge, and he's talking to the commander, and he's like, Commander, you're treating Amuro wrong. You're stupid. I hate you. I want you to die. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing up? Go back to bed. And so they walk him back to bed again, but then they start getting attacked. And it's like this guy, he gets up again. And he gets in with, like, the core fighters, which are, like, the things that lock into the Gundams.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need to go rescue Amuro. I know he's in danger. Amuro is in danger. He's, like, trying to push back this thing that's, like, full of explosives. It's, like, a tank or whatever. And there's someone, like, there's, like, a Zeon tank or whatever, like, behind him. Like, no, it's a fighter behind him that's, like, shooting the Gundam in the back. And the thing about the mobile suits in the series is it's pretty well established that if you hit them in the back, they explode.
That's the weak point.
Yeah, they do like the mushroom cloud explosion. It's like ridiculous.
Cartoonish, just
yeah, and so like, you know, the Gundam's about to like explode, and Amuro's like, how am I gonna get out of this? And keep in mind, the only thing we've seen of this character, how have I forgotten his name? What was the name I was saying? Fuck.
Amuro?
No, Amuro's the main character. Ryu. I think his name was Ryu. I think. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ryu. And if I'm wrong, I'll fucking interject here.
Okay.
Anyways, so like when like this scene is happening, Amuro is like, fuck, how am I gonna get out of this? And I'm like, fuck. How is Amuro gonna get out of this? And the scene before this, we see Ryu getting into the buggy, which is like this little thing. And for some reason, he just, I guess off screen decides the buggy's not good enough. And he gets into one of the ships that they have that like pilots the Gundam pieces. And he's like, I'm going in. And like flies in. So like Amuro's like, how do I get out of this? And Ryu was like, whoa! And he like flies in from off screen and he crashes his ship into the fighter that is shooting the Gundam in the back, and they both explode, and Ryu just dies. He's like over.
And that's the last of him in the whole show.
He's dead.
By the way, Gundam spoilers.
Spoilers are an expectation.
Yeah, well, like I said, the first time in Ep.0, which hopefully you all skip, it's all 100% spoilers. If we start talking about a show, presumably it's getting spoiled immediately.
Yeah.
You should put that at the beginning of the episode. This disclaimer at the beginning.
It's their responsibility to watch episode 0, even though I told them not to.
We told them not to several times. Okay. Alright, has anybody else watched anything?
I watched one episode of Alien 9.
Yeah.
I haven't really been able to watch very much since last week, because first of all, it hasn't been a whole week.
Yeah.
It's been like 5 days. And I just don't have enough time. Starting next week, I have all the time in the world. And you know what? Ashita no Joe is getting done in a week. We'll see if I can stick to that. But I watched one episode of Alien 9 because I think I already explained this. If something catches my attention from the future, even though I'm not there yet in the timeline of anime, it's not like I'm going to watch everything in sequence. If I want to watch something, I'm going to go watch it. Because that's the best time to watch something, is when you're ready to. That's when you have the best experience.
Yes.
So Alien 9... I don't think there's that much to say about Alien 9, like, in terms of, like, summarizing its plot or whatever. The basic premise is it's kind of like... It's this really unique setting where it's in, like, a post-alien invasion world where, like, humans and aliens have already become, like, cohabitant of Earth, where, like, the aliens are just here now, and everyone accepts that, and they still have the children go to school and stuff, but... Instead of, like, a sports team, there's, like, an alien defense team where they just decide, all right, well, nobody wants to do this job, so we'll get the school children to do it. And so they just have children, like, vote each other into doing this. And the presumption is that if everybody decides this one's the good one, then they're all into it. There's one girl who has, like, I don't know, brain problems or something, and she's just really into it. She's, like... unbelievably skilled. Like, everybody's like, all right, you're the one that kills the alien, whatever, like, because sometimes they'll just come down.
Yeah.
But they also wear aliens, where, like, there's all these different relationships between different types of aliens, and the aliens that the children are using are, like, their helmets, where the point isn't to kill the alien, because the helmet aliens, if you're, like, in danger, they will just kill the alien, and that alien's done with.
Yeah.
But the point is to, like, tranquilize the alien and then, like, capture them for, like, research or some shit.
Do they make them into more helmets?
I don't know. No, the helmet aliens are a specific kind of alien which is supposed to, like, protect its host for some reason. It can, like, understand English and speak it back and stuff, and it can, like, shoot out, like, armor-piercing shit all the time. They're basically invincible. But they have no ability to actually, like... You know, I don't know. They feed off you and they make you tall or something. But I didn't actually... There's not much to say about Alien 9 specifically. I just started thinking about, like, after I started watching this show, I realized I got kind of, like, a thing for, like, specifically for shows that have, like, these really cute stylized characters. Like, all of the characters in Alien 9 are, like... They kind of look like that level of, like, detail of, like, a Yotsuba character or something, where they're very cute. They have, like, those stylized, like, eyes, they're, like, no nose, the mouths are just, like, random shapes on their face.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. They're like, really appealing character designs, but all of, like, the clothing that they're wearing is, like, very detailed. All of their movements are extremely, like, physical. Yeah. And so, even though they're these, like, very endearing, stylish characters... They're just in this world which is, like, cold, and, like, you can, like, feel every single, like, thing that happens in it, because it's just animated so solidly. The animation is great. This is, like, one of my favorite shows I've ever seen aesthetically. Yeah. You know, a lot of, like, early 2000s OVAs have a great look. Yeah. And when I think back to, like, other shows, it kind of gives me that same feeling as, like, Main Abyss and, like, other shows like that, where it's kind of about this thing, it's like a subgenre, I guess, of, like, shows with these very stylized characters just in worlds that fuck them up. Yeah. And this is where I'm going to start talking about, like, niches. Because, like, a lot of anime is, like, about, like, different, like, super specific niches, whereas a lot of, like, Western cartoons are always about, like, appealing to larger audiences. The way that Japanese shows were often funded, at least during this time period, is you find the guys who are marketable to, and you just try and, like, get as much money from them as possible, because the whole otaku culture is all about, like, you know, specific people who are able to fund things basically out of pure passion. That's what the entire OVA market was. And that's why OVAs were cool, and we need to find a replacement, because streaming services ain't it. But I'm not going to talk about that. That's a whole different conversation. There's this, like, very specific kind of culture surrounding, like, these different shows because they're very meaningful, even though ostensibly they're just like off-putting. I looked at the Mal reviews, and there's way too many Mal reviews on this show, which are like, I watched this show because it looked cute, but like then it wasn't. What the fuck? I'm so mad. 1 out of 10. But there's also all these other reviews which are like, this is what I watch anime for, is to watch the little girls get fucked up. And stuff like this, which is really given like anime like this outside perception that it's like fucked up and weird.
Yeah.
You know? But I think the reason why anime is like that a lot of the time is because this is so hard to like articulate. I should have thought about this ahead of time. Because there's all these weird fucking visual novels that are like off-putting, all these different like subgenres which make people like creeped out a lot of the time. But what they're all about, the reason why the people care about them so much is because they're like, have you ever read a webcomic that just feels like so personal to the person who made it, where it's like, even though it's weird and doesn't seem to have a lot going on at first with just the premise alone, you can tell that it's almost like a way for the author to like sort through complicated feelings they don't quite like verbally understand. Yeah. A lot of these like weird like subcultures of anime stuff is really all about like that. Where it's like, these authors, they're just like little mangaka that don't have any assistants. They just somehow got published on like a website or like a little magazine in the back where nobody will read it. And a lot of people just flock to it because it has that very personal feeling to it. And it just gets a little like 2 to 4 episode OVA. It's only 4 episodes.
I saw that. I looked it up.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows like this are really only ever like 2 or 4 episodes. And I wanted to bring up what was it? Main Abyss again. Because I remember watching a bunch of interviews with the Tsukushi Akihito, the author of the original, where a lot of what he says is often like, I originally just made this to be like a showcase of like weird ecology things, and then it evolved into a story. And when it got greenlit for an anime, I was absolutely shocked. I was like, why would anybody watch this on TV? Because the manga for Main Abyss is really fucked up. It's like, like a lot of people would often compare it to Berserk, wrongly so, but like it's extremely uncomfortable for people who watch it or read it a lot of the time. What
are you doing?
What's up?
Sayu!
Where you going?
Sayu is escaping!
Come back!
Listen.
Here. Speak up.
Hello.
Here, I need a drink.
Okay.
Editor,
cut that! We're out of water!
No,
Alright, cut back with that.
No, I got tea.
We got tea?
He's got tea.
It's my tea.
Alright. I'm out of chocolate milk, which is what I bought earlier at the store, so...
You don't buy tea?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But I was talking about these interviews with Tsukushi Akihito, where he's just like, nobody was supposed to read this, let alone get it adapted. And when it was originally greenlit and he started like handing materials, he originally thought it was literally going to be like 1 chapter. It was going to be like a single episode, just like TV special to like basically advertise the manga. And when it turned out to be a whole like 14 episode show, I think it's 13, but the last episode is like 2 episodes long.
Yeah.
Sip.
You know, not to cut you off, but
no,
I was wrong. That character's name is Ryu, not Ro.
Oh, yeah.
Rao is a villain in the show
Yeah.
that I think has been introduced where I am, but not a whole lot.
Yeah.
This is the man I'm speaking of. We can throw him up on the screen right now. This man, like, flies... This man just flies in from off-screen, having no setup at all, crashing into an enemy ship, dying instantly. And the show is just like, this is a main character. Okay.
You know what? I didn't expect what I was going to say to actually be this structured. But this kind of ties in to like what I was also thinking about. You see, recently, because I want to make anime YouTube videos, but I haven't done it before. Yeah. I started watching a whole bunch of other AniTubers. Yes. And what I found is a lot of them don't appeal to me. It's not that they're bad. I'm not going to throw any names around in specific unless I think they're good. But a lot of them kind of just feel like reviewing shows and like giving critique and stuff. And then there's like there's like some people who are really getting into the industry knowledge. I found this one guy. I'm gonna actually find this guy's name. He's really cool.
While you do that, I would like to reiterate: we are not naming names of the creators that we hate, especially not Jeff Thu of Mother's Basement.
No, we're not starting drama with Jeff Thu.
Take the bait, Jeff. We have like 3 whole subscribers.
Oh, fuck, who am I subscribed to? You know what? We do need to start drama to get subscribed.
Can
All right.
you replace that with like Joe Biden? Or whatever?
Joe Biden.
My
Joe
least
Biden
favorite anime YouTuber, Joe Biden of the Democrat Party.
But I found this guy. He has a bit of an accent, and I think that's why he has like no subs, but he's been making videos for like 8 months. His name is Shima Vin, and Vin has like an H at the end.
Yeah.
He's like some French guy, and he's like really, really knowledgeable on like economics and business.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know where he gets all of his industry knowledge, because all of his videos are really well researched. He has a lot to say about like what goes on inside the anime industry. Just like looking through a few of his videos, I've already found like so much. But that guy was cool. Other than that, like a lot of YouTubers don't feel that like unique. There's a few guys who are very leftist. There's like, you know, the Pedantic Romantic, very cool. Often does a lot of cool videos. And there was this one that recently announced that they were quitting anime YouTube, which kind of sucks. Zaria.
Yeah.
Zaria has a very unique perspective on different anime shows because they're very, very knowledgeable on like leftist theory and like politics shit on a really deep level.
Yeah.
And they apply it to all of these like otaku anime shows that nobody would otherwise be like analyzing in this way.
Yeah.
One of their best videos, in my opinion, like their best video is this one about like the entire history of like Miyazaki's films viewed through the lens of like how Miyazaki has evolved politically, because I don't know if a lot of people know this. It's kind of become a bit more common knowledge, but way back when Miyazaki started in anime, he was like an thorough supporter of communism, specifically Marxism. He was a strong Marxist.
Wait a minute. Hold on. That does that kind of explain like Spirited Away?
It explains a lot of things.
But like Spirited Away, like thinking about it recently, I've been like, wow, that movie's really far left.
No, I mean seriously, like think about it when you're rewatching like a bunch of like Ghibli movies, or I guess you haven't actually seen a lot of them.
Yeah, I've only seen a small handful.
Yeah, it gives you perspective. This video especially, don't watch it until you've watched like all the videos or movies that she mentions.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Zeri is a she. I don't know.
We will correct it right here.
We'll look it up.
Editor, get on it right now.
Replace it with
Get on
he, she, they, or whatever pronouns they prefer.
I say they a lot without even thinking about it, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Replace it with specifically that voice clip of me saying that. Whichever one you prefer.
But you go through all these movies. This isn't what I originally wanted to talk about, but tangents are welcome, and just like chipping in. I kind of want the whole podcast to eventually flow in the same way a conversation would while we're like playing a shitty video game or something.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be so structured.
Okay, not to tease future content on my channel, go subscribe to me, youtube.com/Tom's House. I'm kidding, I don't actually have that custom URL.
You can make one.
I think I can now. I think that's in my powers, but anyways, point is, tonight we recorded the first session of what is going to become my Drakengard video.
Drakengard's basically anime.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm
It's
allowing
Yoko
discussion
Taro.
of anime games.
Yeah, Yoko Taro, it's anime. Anyways, so like Drakengard fucking sucks. I'm just gonna say it right now. Drakengard's not very good.
I disagree with that opinion.
Sayu was
they're
the
the
one
only
playing.
one.
Yeah, Sayu was the one playing because both me and you were very bored by the game.
I played like one mission and I didn't do the combo right too many times. Now I'm mad.
Yeah. Anyways, point is, I'm kind of like kicking myself for not recording us playing the game. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, we talked over a lot of it, but it was also really fun.
Yeah. Anyways, point is, like, yeah, that should probably be how it ends up flowing eventually.
I think if we ever record, we're talking shop right now. You know, if we ever record video games together like this, we should include like a voice track, just so that if you wanted to, like, you know how like Donkey occasionally like splices in like live footage of him playing the game into his reviews. That would be a really fun thing to do. Yeah,
we should probably end up doing that. That'll probably actually make it into the video.
We can talk about this off of the podcast.
No,
I like talking about it on.
Shop stuff's like...
Subscribe.
Yeah. Shop stuff's like fine. That's like the point of this.
Yeah. What was I talking about? Miyazaki was a Marxist. Except I say was.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to spoil too much of the video. Most of it is talking specifically about the movies. And so, like, definitely go watch, like, everything Miyazaki's ever made. Then watch this video because it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
All of them. Miyazaki fell out of Marxism in the 90s at some point. Though it's not because he disagrees with the values of Marxism. Miyazaki says that they, like, really, really believe in the values of Marxism, and they're all about it, like, to this day. But Miyazaki, in case you can't tell, is like a burnt-out idealist. Where they see the world in this extremely idealistic, romantic way, and that's how all of their movies are framed. That's why everybody sees Miyazaki as this, like, gentle-hearted, like, super spiritually enlightened person.
Anime was a mistake.
Yeah, and then in real life, he's, like, super burnt out, just, like, says that everything fucking sucks, and he's like... The one piece of media from Miyazaki that really expresses just how fucking, like, wrecked his entire worldview has become is Nazca. Yeah. The manga. The movie is very bright, but then in the manga, I'm not gonna spoil it, but, like, it's, like... depressing. It's like the most doomer shit ever. Yeah. It basically concludes with like maybe humanity should just die.
Alright.
Not that it should, but that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Alright. Let's get Sayu in here. Sayu, what have you watched?
Hello. I watched the first episode of Chi-Chana Yukitsukai Sugar.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta hold on, you gotta speak up. It's barely picking you up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just get on the floor.
Yeah, let me just get back down.
Yeah,
everybody walk the dinosaur.
Hold up. It's gonna be really loud if I can just...
I don't care.
Okay.
It's fine.
You can, like... can't you, like, put your feet in a way that's more comfy?
No.
I would have to slide the laptop. The laptop is getting slid.
Alright, slide.
Okay.
Alright.
I watched the first episode of Chi-Chana A Little Snow Fairy Sugar. It was really boring. So I watched 9 episodes of Needless instead.
Isn't that what like fucking Moe is all about, is being boring?
Shut up.
Sayu just said he was going to watch all of the Moe. He didn't say he liked Moe last episode.
So Needless is a shonen action series. I like that more than Chi-Chana Yukitsukai Sugar. It was very fun.
I'm definitely getting back to what I was talking about later. I still have a lot going through my brain.
Yeah.
It very clearly had influences from Gurren Lagann. And it was, I think... Wait, I don't know if it came out after or before. Wait, never mind. Scratch that if it came out before, so I look smarter. Editor, cut that out.
Editor!
But yeah, it's really good. I like it. I don't know how to like talk at length about an anime like you two.
Well, you just do it. You just keep it going.
It's good.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. But like, why?
We'll
is
get
it,
there with time.
Why is it good?
Yeah. What were you thinking?
It's got that like mid 2000s energy that I've been craving lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah.
You kind of just think about like your first impression. Where did you get that impression? And then what led to those places that gave you those sources for the impression? You just keep working backwards.
Yeah. All right.
We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. Okay.
I'm just stupid. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. And you know what? That's valid.
That's really heckin' valid.
That's very valid.
Contra, if you're listening, we love you.
Maybe Contra has like a weird, like fucking hobby of watching obscure anime content.
Yeah, maybe.
To like fuel their like pathological like source of hatred for cat girls. They like need to find the ammo.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of looping in on itself.
God, that's gonna be indecipherable.
But anyway, oh yeah. What I was saying about Miyazaki is that kind of in deconstructing all of their thoughts for like watching Nazca or reading or writing Nazca, the manga.
Mm-hmm.
It started optimistically and then eventually was just like, and like by the end of it, Miyazaki was like no longer a Marxist because at this point, the only like the last bastion in his perception for like what Marxism being brought into the world was, which was like the Soviet Union, turned out to be a complete failure. Didn't achieve anything. It was all bad.
Yeah.
And so Miyazaki was just like, if that's what Marxism is, then we're fucked. And after that, he just kept working through all these ideas, and he ended up going up all the way to The Wind Rises, which ended up being when I watched The Wind Rises, I didn't even think about the political implications of a lot of it, even though it was obviously
Moth.
There's a moth on the window.
There's a moth on the window. Can I get like a picture of the moth? Editor, we're putting an image of the moth on the window.
You gotta send me that.
No, he's still there. No, I have to get him. I have to capture him.
He's running.
He's running from me.
It's a moth. They do that.
It's gone. It's gone. I did get a couple pictures. Editor, put those pictures in right now. Get on that.
There's one guy listening to this podcast, and he's really interested in the deconstruction of like Miyazaki's Marxism, and it keeps getting interrupted. Yeah. Watch the Zarya video.
Yeah, no. If you are here for serious deconstruction of anime, I'm sorry you're in the wrong place.
You're never getting it.
You're not gonna get it.
Please unsubscribe now.
Leave.
But yeah. Basically, that's how it went. And it gave me a really new perspective on, like, every Miyazaki thing. Not that it's going to change my personal experiences, but that's what I love about anime YouTube.
Yeah.
Is, like, when people bring, like, a personal outlook to something beyond just, like, evaluating if it's good or bad.
Man.
Now, I've been writing a script for my first video. Originally, my first video was going to be 60s, and I'm still going to talk about the 60s. But another video from Zarya. I'm going to keep talking about Zarya for
one moment.
What?
Before you say that, I too think it is really cool when creators put their own personal spin on their content and don't just rate whether or not things are good or bad. Jeff Thu, otherwise known as Mother's Basement.
No,
take note.
This isn't real drama. Jeff Thu, your life is very valid, and I'm glad you make videos, probably. I don't watch them.
I watched 2 of them, and he told me that the Promised Neverland manga was good. It was not.
What if we actually have a bunch of subscribers in the future by some like cosmic mistake, and then like Jeff Thu hears it?
I don't care.
Jeff Thu thought he got out of it when Digi died, but now it's us.
Now he's got to deal with Tom.
We're coming for your throne.
Me, video game YouTuber, will dethrone you.
I thought I was going to be the most recklessly outspoken.
No, it's me.
Okay, well, that's why you stick to gaming.
Yeah. Can you tell I'm the video gamer in the room?
But anyway, oh yeah, what was it? Oh yeah, there was this Zarya video, which I thought was very interesting at first. Because it was about sequel culture. And I thought they were going to talk about, like, you know, different capitalist stuff, and they did, but what it kind of started to feel like was they were breaking down mostly how the fact that by default every single piece of media has been open to like the possibility of sequels happening at any moment, where it's like, yeah, just dig up Fooly Cooley from like 15 years ago. Let's get a sequel. It's getting 2 of them. Make a new Ghost in the Shell OVA or ONA, stuff like that. They brought up how, in terms of critique, now I know that they were talking about like political critique.
Yeah.
It has kind of destroyed the practice of this, because when anything can be open to changing as like a complete work, it makes it very difficult to critique things for specific stuff, because when the sequel comes out, it could be different. Like, what if it's leading into something? Because a lot of things are now written under the assumption that they'll be open to sequels in the future. You can set up things that don't get elaborated on until later. And it was all about that. It was all about how, like, critique is kind of falling apart because everybody's now interested in purely, like, newer things because of the way the economy works surrounding media now. And all of this stuff. And this whole time, I started kind of getting a headache. I kind of started feeling weird. And the end of the video was coming up, and it was all just about this, like, critique point about, like, how, like, is critique even worth anything anymore? And what I was thinking this whole time was kind of like, do people really care that much about critique? Like, I understand the value of critique when it comes to, like, you know, any piece of media and anime and stuff. But, I mean, it's like, specifically with anime, I really feel like critique is not something that's, like, listened to a lot of the time because of that culture of, like, extracting money out of just the specific audience that a show is for. I feel like shows really welcome critique in a way where it's totally all blocked and ignored. Because it's like, you are not what this show is for. This show is for these people. And sure, if you want to critique a show politically and you want to critique it, say, like, this is good, this is bad, to help people better understand their own tastes, then yeah, sure, fine, that's good. And, you know, you can prop up communities, build social connections around different people who like certain things. That's what it's all about. Except, that's not what it's all about. This whole time, I was genuinely starting to get kind of upset, because it felt like this video was almost implying that there's not anything more to discussing anime on the internet than critiquing it for its problems. And that's not what any of this is about. Like, even, like I said, critiquing things for their problems is mostly useful in almost purely a social sense where you're building connections. It's all about personal connections. And I like Trixie's new videos. I don't hate them. But the Digibro spirit of the otaku gonzo journalist is something that I miss. After I'm watching all of these fucking other YouTubers, they're fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with their content. But there's not enough otaku gonzo journalists around who will break down how their relationship with a show when they were, like, 12 years old, like, totally changed their whole world. Because that sort of thing can speak to other people. Breaking down your values and how they were reflected in the media that you consume can speak to people in a very important way that can inspire them and change their lives and, like, build these connections and help people understand what's going on inside their own brain. And it's like, that's what I came to anime YouTube for. That's why I watched it. And like a lot of the reason why right now I feel compelled to like go all in on anime YouTube is because I haven't felt this kind of meaningful personal connection with the art community that I've been a part of, the furry community and stuff, where I don't feel that. I've always been more connected to these anime people because they kind of like break down those personal experiences with art in a way that like I felt like my community just didn't. And now I'm looking around anime YouTube, I'm trying to find like these meaningful personal diatribes on these shows that I care about, or even shows that I don't care about. I like hearing people's unique perspectives. The whole Miyazaki thing, I would have never thought about any of that shit until like somebody broke down their relationship to Miyazaki's works, because they were very like constant political activists and stuff. Those are the things that I come to anime YouTube for.
Yeah.
So I feel like personally compelled. When I was listening back to episode 0, I almost didn't comment on the quality of anything on my 3x3. It was like Haruhi changed my self-image in terms of like how much I get done and what's meaningful in my life. Like Made in Abyss changed how I make art. Like all of these, like Serial Experiments Lane redefined what I thought reality was. Like all these different things. These are the meaningful parts of discussing anime. To me.
And I will say, even if you aren't that kind of person, like I give their videos a lot of shit because I think Digi/Trixie, just as a whole, is just like a crazy unhinged person who like did a lot of crazy stuff. So, but
I would separate Digi from Trixie. Trixie is a very unique person from Digi. Where Digi was, as like at first I kind of was like, that's a weird thing to say, but now I'm like, Digi was a character. Trixie is a totally different person.
Anyways, so back with the Digi videos, like their videos were like I don't know, I didn't like them very much, but I watched Cowboy Bebop and infamously I like hated it. I thought it was terrible. I was like, what is even the fucking point of this? This was like a waste of my time. I'm gonna go watch Space Dandy again. This was like not fun. But then I watched like a random Digibro video, and I don't know which video it was.
Was it the highbrow, lowbrow one?
No, I think it was the video titled "You're Gonna Carry That Weight."
Oh, that one's good.
Yeah, and I was like, what's going on here? You know, let's have Digi explain it to me. And Digi broke down that show in such a way where like I didn't get it immediately, because I'm gonna be honest, I watched Cowboy Bebop when I was like way too young. I should not have watched Cowboy Bebop until I was probably at least like 22. Like, I'm gonna be honest, watching that show really young doesn't do it any favors. You need to give yourself time to mature, to understand what the show is going to tell you.
I mean, I haven't finished it. I want to watch half of it.
Yeah, I mean, you know like the point of it.
Yeah, it's right? Like, it's all about how... Like, that sentence. One eye sees the past, one eye can see the present, but you're always like looking at the past. That's how you view your life right now.
Yeah. Like I don't know, like everything about that show is about that single line. You're gonna carry that weight. It's like everything about it is how like things that happen in your life don't just like happen and disappear.
Your life is a compiling series of events.
Yeah, and it's like as these things happen, it's like, you know, your life builds to these moments, these like big moments that are supposed to happen, you know? I don't want to spoil the show, but there's a lot of really big moments in the show that like really make it clear, especially towards the end, and I didn't get it. Because like there was nothing in my life that had happened yet that had built up. But like later on, when like there were a lot of things that I found that I was like carrying around, that I was like stuck with, that I couldn't move past, I was like, wow. Wait, that's what that video was trying to tell me. That's what Cowboy Bebop was. And over the years, Cowboy Bebop, despite the fact that I have not rewatched it, has been climbing in score on my list on Mal. Like, ever since.
You know what? Like, I don't mean to get too personal. But I'm kind of glad I didn't watch Cowboy Bebop until I met you again.
I think it would have destroyed you. You would have gotten to the ending and, like, died. Again, I'm not going to spoil it. Just know, like, seriously, Cowboy Bebop's a masterpiece. Anyways, okay. Yeah. So did you have more to say on that subject? Or can we move on to the topic?
Not that much more. I guess I just really wanted to tie it all into, like, at the end, the reason why those OVAs, like, mean so much to the people is because the earlier otaku community, before it became all about the new shows, and, like, I give Sayu a lot of shit for always being kind of, like, more seasonal, even though I watched a lot of the classics and stuff. I don't see a problem with seasonal watching, but a lot of the earlier otaku community that I cherished a whole lot, that I never got to be a very close part of, was all about the personal experience, like what small things can mean to niche communities of people. I have written in my Twitter bio, I word it like a joke. I've explained this before, but I say that all art is really about your fetishes, and I have a very broad definition of fetish. I can use fetish to describe, like, if you're really into fucking, like, mecha shows. Like, I have, like, a fetish for, like, those shows about very cute characters in harsh worlds where they still remain themselves. Like, because that does mean a lot to me in ways that I have a difficult time explaining.
Like, I don't, like, like, same here. Like, I really like shows where it's like, and I swear it's just like an accident that all mechas are like this. Thank you, Gundam, I guess. But, like, I really like the show where it's like the boy, the young man, the young person, whoever they are. Not always a guy, I guess, but overwhelmingly guys.
There's a lot of girls in anime.
Well, yeah, but not so many in mech suits.
Yeah, true.
But, so they get thrust into, like, this situation where it's like they're, just, like, forced to accept, like, these horrible realities. And, like, they just have to deal with it, and I like watching them try and navigate that. Like, I love observing the difference between, like, Shinji Ikari and, like, Amuro Ray.
Because it means a lot about your own experiences.
And it gives you a good way to sort of, like, understand, I don't know, like, you can apply that to, like, your real life. You can see, like, the way different people handle different situations,
There's so much more I could say about this for, like, hours.
But we should probably
start the video. Subscribe to Nyuu Type.
Yeah, do it right now. And if you don't, I'm doxing you.
Alright, censored.
It's censored.
Okay, look for the secret channel.
If you find the secret channel, you win no money.
You get more videos that are, like, lower quality. That don't exist yet, but they will.
Okay, so I think that wraps it up here. All right.
You're going to talk about, like, our favorite games.
That's like the topic.
On to the real topic. Best game ever.
How much time we got?
Literally infinite. I don't care.
All right.
Okay.
This could be a 10-hour podcast.
Now to prepare for this topic, I've decided to prepare the Urban Dictionary definition of best game ever.
Yes, best guy ever.
Bringing it back.
You know what? Screw you, PCP. This is our gimmick now. We're using it.
PCP's gone its own direction. I like the dictionary. I like the topics. We're taking them.
They're ours. Go ahead, Sayu.
Alright. The Urban Dictionary definition reads, exactly, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. I guess that kind of settles it.
All right. Podcast over.
I guess Ocarina of Time. Well, there's still a Section 3,
Oh, you're right.
Don't forget about Section 3.
So what makes The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time the best game ever?
Well, you see...
because it's an N64 game.
I was like a baby when it came out.
The Metacritic. Wait a minute. I don't think it's top of Metacritic.
Wait, what the...
No.
What's top of Metacritic?
What is the best game according to Metacritic?
Is it still Undertale?
It better be still Undertale. I think it's Undertale.
Are we going to let this become the Undertale podcast too?
I think it's inevitable when you're talking about the best game ever that Undertale, like, has to come up.
I actually, you know what? I knew we were going to talk about, like, favorite game ahead of time. Wait a minute. Hold up.
Ocarina of Time's still on top, by the way.
I thought they were calling me again.
Okay.
Nyuu is scheduled to work to do this.
Nyuu was scheduled to work today, sort of.
Well,
but
I wasn't.
No,
my schedule says I wasn't scheduled, but they called me in and said that I was scheduled. So they didn't answer the phone because you know what? They worked me like 5 days in a row. I get a 2-day weekend, all right? It's hard physical labor at that job. I'm not coming in. It's like the first time I've gotten hung out with you in person in like 3 years.
Like, yeah, literally, literally 3 years.
I got 1 more week on that job before I go back to art full time. I don't care what they think of me.
Yeah. Okay, back to the topic at hand. I think what makes the Ocarina of Time, the best game ever, is that it is actually titled Sonic the Hedgehog and was released in the year 2006.
You know what? That's arguable.
Yeah. I am about to unironically make the argument that Sonic 06 is one of the best games ever made.
I'm not sure I'd say it's my favorite, but I agree.
Yeah. It is like, that game is an unironic masterpiece. There's so much about it, from like how seriously the story takes itself to how silly it is in contrast. Like, every moment of that game is just like a joy.
The thing is with, like, the story is seriously one of my favorite parts of it, despite that's really the thing that a lot of people rail on, besides the glitches. Despite the fact that there's so much more to, like, critique in that game. Other than, like, oh, Sonic kisses a girl or whatever. It is, like, literally a fan fiction written by, like, a 14-year-old who is just for the first time started to have existential philosophical thoughts. And they're just, like, copies of things that he, like, saw in JRPGs.
Yeah.
And it's, like, an official Sega video game.
Yeah, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog. That'd be like if like Disney released a Mickey Mouse film that was about like Mickey like meeting a cosmic horror, you know?
One of my favorite moments in Sonic 06 is like when Silver the Hedgehog, this fucking goofy ass like weed head looking like stupid Sonic clone, walks up to Blaze the cat during a sunset and sits down and is like, is it right to kill a person to save others? And it's like, this is written by literally a 13-year-old and it's so fucking good.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, okay. Major spoilers for a game that came out 15 years ago.
Yeah, for a game that nobody likes.
Yeah, gasp. That game, like, okay, so Sonic final bosses are like, you know, famous for being just like the best fucking things ever. Except for recently. That's a different topic. But, like, they are famous. Like, up to 2010, they just had, like, banger after banger after banger final boss that were, like, all so good. And Solaris is, like, on top of that. Like, the whole game is spent building up to that. Like, Solaris is on, like, the game's version of the emblems, and it's, like, never, like, talked about. Like, it's on the coins in the kingdom that the game takes place in.
Yeah.
Like, the whole game story is about, like, Solaris and how it's all a build-up to him. And when you finish all the stories, like Sonic, like, fucking dies. And that releases, like, this demon that is, like, trapped.
Yeah.
And it combines with literally Satan and forms into a time god that decides, fuck it, and starts mashing dimensions together because it's, like, bored and needs to eat. And, like, they're like, how the fuck do we win? Sonic is dead.
Okay, here's the thing. We're gonna talk about, like, what makes games actually good in, like, a minute.
Yeah.
And Sonic 06 is a great way to lead into that.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't understand why anybody actually complains about the story in Sonic 06.
I don't get it
because the original 2 Sonic Adventure games were, like, the same way. Where, like, the thing that a lot of people compliment about specifically Sonic Adventure 2, greatest game of all time, before Pro Jared talked about it.
Fuck you, Pro Jared.
Alright, we're starting drama with Pro Jared.
You know what, Jeff? You're fine. I love you, Jeff. Jared!
You ruined Sonic.
Yeah.
Actually, Ego Raptor ruined Sonic.
Thanks, Ego Raptor. If I could start beef with anyone, if I could, like, box anyone, like Logan Paul, like, fucking put him up and, like, literally just punch someone for 20 minutes, I would do Aaron Hansen.
In Minecraft, that's not a real threat. We wouldn't actually do that. Stop.
Yeah.
Wait, no, they know that one now.
Oh, fuck, in Terraria.
Roblox Terraria.
Yeah.
Like the Terraria game in Roblox.
Yeah. Okay, continue though.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Oh yeah, you were complimenting the adventure story.
Yeah, the adventure stories. The reason why people like them, at least the reason that people give, I don't think people actually think through the reasons for why they say they like things.
Yeah.
Is that's not. I'm not going to be too arrogant on air.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
You would say that, Sayu.
What the? What's wrong with that? If you like something, that's good. That's always good.
Okay,
things.
people can like things. I just think that like the reasons that people give for why they like things are just like they don't actually know what they're saying.
I mean,
like including me. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I just do it more in a convoluted way.
Yeah.
But anyway, people say that the Sonic Adventure 2 story is like really mature and stuff, and it's like oh, it's like Sonic, but it's like there's more going on in it. It's like it's the same fucking thing as the Sonic 06 story, where it's just like weird like teenager autism, like psychic brain blast, like whoa, what if he was a faker and he like could control time and Sonic went into space, and it's like what if Amy almost got shot by Eggman? Like, and then Sonic 06 comes along and it just dials it all up a few more notches. Same exact style of writing. And now people are like, oh, it's bad actually. Because it's like Final Fantasy. It's like,
yeah.
That's great.
I would like to add that Sonic and the Black Knight comes around 3 years later, and the same people who knock 06's story are like, Black Knight's got a good plot. Even though it's the same thing.
Actually, okay, can we we're in the anime section again. I actually wanted to talk about the Sonic OVA.
Oh yeah, so what did you want to say?
I didn't watch the Sonic OVA, but I did Once Upon a Time. And you know what? That is the Sonic movie. I don't give a fuck about that live action one they put out recently.
It was good.
It's fine.
Yeah, but the OVA, seriously knocks it out of the fucking park.
The OVA is, the spitting image of what Sonic in the 90s was. It was, cool. It had the world. There's so many great concepts that I wish stuck around and, went on to define what Sonic was, but they decided to mix it all up when they got to the Dreamcast game.
Yeah.
Sonic OVA takes place on Earth in, a so distant future where now the Earth has a second crust over top of the original human world where they're we gotta go underground down to where all the fucking monsters are, and they're just in New York City.
Yeah.
They're in New York City, but 1,000 years old now or something.
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool, and the soundtrack's great. All the Sonic characters are super over the top and cool, and Eggman's kind of goofy.
That showdown with Metal Sonic, it's memed on so much. You may think you know everything I'm going to do, but that's not going to help you because I know everything you're going to do.
Strange, isn't it?
That's unironically one of the best scenes in anything Sonic.
It's so mimetic because it's great.
Yeah. The line delivery is just perfect, and the animation is so good, and unironically that OVA should have defined Sonic.
Yeah.
And honestly, with that Sonic Mania Adventures thing that they did, it's a little cartoony, but I want them to do more of that.
Yeah, I want them to revive the 90s image of the more type of innocent, pure Sonic.
Yeah. I don't get me wrong, I've loved the modern era games except for 2011 onwards.
We're recording this before E3. Let's hope we get blown out of the water.
God, I hope so. But I am hoping that this year we start a new era of Sonic and it's gonna knock all of our fucking socks off.
With the Sonic Forces remake. Let's go!
You've activated my fucking, that was my trigger word. I'm a fucking sleeper agent.
We got Sonic Forces and remake in the same sentence.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say about the Sonic OVA is another anime YouTuber I found, super cool guy, Bennett the Sage, has been working on anime reviews for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And all of their videos are a bit more personal in that style I like, but it's got kind of like a classic bent to it, where he's like the old otaku, where he kind of he had a collaborative episode with the Nostalgia Critic.
What?
Yeah, and that's what got me thinking about the Sonic OVA, because the episode where he collaborated with Nostalgia Critic and some other like old critic guy who nobody cares about anymore was the Sonic movie.
Whoa.
And what shocked me about this episode is how wrong he was. Because the whole assumption of the episode was like the guy that they got on was some like black guy who's known for being like a super Sonic fan. They're all over Sonic. And when they call up this dude in like the skit they had going on, it's like, how did the Sonic fandom react to the Sonic movie? And they're talking about what movie? Like, they pretend it doesn't exist, and then he goes on to explain that, like, oh, Sonic 06 happened. Sonic whatever the fuck happened. Sonic movie didn't happen, alright? Don't talk about it. Because, like, the whole thing was, like, it was under this assumption that the Sonic fandom just universally hated the Sonic OVA.
Wait a minute, hold on. Sonic 06 was a fucking watershed moment for the Sonic fan base.
Yeah.
Like it was the make or break, and it broke.
Yeah.
But, like, the Sonic OVA, from what I understand, like, I can't speak for the time, of course, I wasn't there, but growing up within the Sonic fan base, people didn't talk about it. Yeah. It wasn't, like, a subject that people, like, knew about generally.
Yeah.
It was available on, like, illegal streaming sites, which I do not advocate that you use, wink. And like, it was only available on those. Like, I think Netflix had like a listing for it, but they didn't actually have any copies of it to send out back in the day. And like, that was like it. So if people wanted to watch it, they had to pirate it. And very few people, unless you were like a super fan, like, did. And I don't know, it's just like, it's such a strange piece of media now. Because, like, most of the people I talk to, they're like, yeah, I've heard of it.
Especially after the Sonic movie in America came out.
Yeah.
Like, when you say the Sonic movie, nobody's thinking of the OVA.
No. You have to say the Sonic OVA. You have to.
And a lot of people who are, like, Sonic fans, they've never watched an anime before, like, they don't even know what an OVA is.
No. Like... I don't know, it's really funny that actually Sonic fans over here generally don't care about anime
Yeah, especially considering early Sonic was literally like...
Dragon Ball.
They explained explicitly in interviews, like, we took all this from Dragon Ball.
Like, it was Dragon Ball.
Right up to Sonic 06 is, I think, when they dropped that, because they did the whole Trunks thing with Silver.
Yeah.
This is the Sonic podcast now.
Episode Sonic!
Looks like we're naming it Worst Game Ever.
No!
Sayu, I'm going to...
We're gonna have the Sonic episode eventually, like the explicit Sonic episode.
Yeah.
That's our airing of grievances.
Yeah.
That's when we break up.
Yeah. No, we should drop some group lore real quick about this Sonic race that we did.
Way back in the day, alright, me, Sayu, and Tom were great friends in middle school. That's like how we met each other.
Yeah.
And over time, we kind of introduced a couple other people in our group, and we kind of integrated my friend group with Tom's and stuff.
Yeah.
Or I guess we just integrated Tom into my friend group.
Yeah.
Because we had a bunch of weird social dynamics going on, and Tom was always the one that was pushing to do, like, group activities. Like, we watched cool movies, we played through video game series, we did a whole lot of things. Like, originally, you were the one that started a YouTube channel when I was only making joke stuff.
Yeah. I was, like, actually doing things.
Yeah. And at some point, in group, me, Tom, were you a part of it, Sayu?
Sayu was part of it later.
Yeah.
Not the initial, like, I know the race you're about to talk about, Sayu was not part of that one.
Yeah, okay. Originally, me, Tom, and then this other dude, Josh.
Yeah.
We did this Sonic race where we were going to have individual races where who can finish it first for every single Sonic game.
The 3D ones.
Yeah, every single 3D Sonic game, not the original.
Wait, you guys not do the originals?
No.
I thought
it was all the 3D ones.
I thought I just joined later.
And how this ended up going is progressively we got really upset with each other because at the time there was just way too many weird social dynamics going on where we're starting to kind of like the cracks in the relationship were starting to show.
Yeah.
And it all kind of like interfered with our ability to have fun with each other when we were playing these games.
It was like...
And Sonic is divisive.
Yeah.
Like...
Already.
At the time, I was like, Sonic sucks. Because the only Sonic games, like, I'd played had been, like, Sonic Heroes, which, to this day, I really don't like, but I'm willing to give it another try.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting all the way to Sonic Adventure 2, and I think we started Heroes.
No, we made it...
No, you finished it.
No, we made it to Unleashed. I know that much.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I remember.
I bought an extra copy and lent it to Sayu with the full expectation that he would join us on the race and finally stop memeing about how much he hates Unleashed without actually playing it.
And then Unleashed was, like, unbearable.
Like, the Unleashed race was actually, like, the worst thing I've ever experienced.
I ended up, like, basically soft-locking myself because I memed where I would put all my points into speed. Because I didn't expect a stat, like, RPG level-up system thing to matter in a fucking Sonic game.
And then it did. It does matter, like, a lot.
And at this point, the cracks in our relationship was just, like, starting to weigh down.
Yeah.
And you can kind of cut in here, because you have a way better memory than me for these things.
No, I do.
But, like, needless to say, I haven't actually talked to Tom until just a few months ago. For, like, over 2, maybe even 3 years.
Yeah, because of, like, things that started to happen because of these races.
It wasn't because of them, but it all, like, they started outside, and when we were in the race, that's when it's like, we started clashing heads.
This episode will now be titled, How Sonic Unleashed Ruined My Life and My Friendship.
It's okay, we'll get back to the general video game discussion after
not clickbait.
Lore.
Is this
not clickbait?
Or are we a 4-section podcast right now?
Yeah, we're like a 4-section... group lore. We share a story from the group's past.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for this one. It occasionally shows up. It's random.
We still need like the audience input section, remember?
Yeah.
We can't forget about that.
Yeah. That's very important. That's the fourth one.
Yeah, okay.
Alright.
Yes, so let me take over with how these races went, right? Like, I ended up winning, I think, like, most of them. Because I'm the person in the group who, like, liked Sonic, like, actually. Like, while Josh and Nyuu, like, were just like, I guess I like Sonic or whatever, I was, like, still playing Sonic Adventure.
I mean,
over and over
when
again.
I went to your house, I always thought it was, like, the coolest shit that you just had, like, this collection of, like, fucking, in my eyes, every Sonic game that ever existed.
I have
like,
almost all of them.
Weird consoles that I didn't know about.
The
like
N-Gage.
Like N-Gage and stuff, and, like, we'd play these obscure Sonic games on, like, the mobile Sega system and stuff. Like, I got to touch, like, the Dreamcast controller, which is the most comfortable controller ever.
Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I was like, they were introduced to the Sonic. I was born in it. Molded by it.
The Sonic, like, Pokemon brain is for some people. Tom got Sonic brain. There's probably, like, a literal cluster of neurons all about Sonic.
I literally dedicated to it. I could recognize probably every single character in the series that isn't, like, a weird comic character.
Yeah.
Like, just by, like, looking at, like, their color scheme.
You're, like, one step down on the deep lore spectrum from, like, Cybershell.
I'm almost there. Cybershell, I'm calling you out. Let's have a Sonic lore debate. Not really. If he hears this, he'll do it.
Oh, shit.
Cybershell.
We don't challenge your power.
I am emailing him.
No.
No.
I don't know who they are.
No.
Cybershell's great. Watch their Chow video.
Yeah. Cybershell is, like, probably one of the best, like, Sonic YouTubers, like, ever.
They're one of my favorite YouTubers if they just made more things.
Yeah. Nah, he's going back to sleep for 7 years.
Please, no.
But no, so, like, there were, like, so many, like, weird problems starting within the group, and, like, I don't know how deep I want to get into those.
That's a its own episode.
Yeah, no, like there were cracks. Like these cracks were like fissures.
Yeah.
They were getting huge, and like we started these Sonic races, and I was so like I was clearly the best at like all of them.
Yeah.
And like I was winning every race pretty much. Like I won Adventure pretty like landslide, and like anytime anything would go wrong in Sonic Adventure, Nyuu and Josh would just be like, "What the fuck? This game sucks."
Yeah, and we were, like Josh would like complain about it, and I'd be like, "Yeah, this game bad."
And I'd be like, "No, stop! This isn't what I signed up for." And like okay, so I like. If anyone remembers my Sonic tier list that I showed on stream multiple times,
I gotta watch those streams.
You'll notice, yeah, you do. You'll notice that Sonic Adventure is in like my S tier for the 3D ones.
Yeah.
And that is because I think it is literally the best Sonic game ever made. And like Sonic Adventure 2 was like B tier. It's like I think it's pretty good, but I recognize it has a lot of weird problems.
Yeah.
And so when we got to Adventure 2, and we were all playing through Adventure 2, Josh and Nyuu were still doing this thing where they were like Josh would be like, "This game sucks." And you'd be like, yeah. And then you would be like, "This game sucks." And Josh would be like, yeah. And I'd be like, "No, stop. No, let's stop." And he was like destroying my view of this game.
The thing is, both of us personally already knew that like Tom at the time was very like emotionally attached to things that were good.
Yeah.
And like when other people were insulting it right in front of his face, it was basically an insult to him.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that's not the way you should always carry yourself, but I think it's very justified that we knew it would always make you mad and we kept doing it.
Yeah.
Like not in a fun, playful way.
No.
Like a fuck Tommy way.
Yeah. God. But like, yeah, no, like honestly, I don't even know where my attachment to Adventure 2 like comes from. I have no fucking idea. Like even still to this day, I'll see someone be like, "Adventure 2 is bad," and I'll be like, "What the fuck did you just fucking say to me? Are you like actually saying this right now?" Like
you wouldn't.
Yeah. Like nowadays I can like articulate more like what I think about Adventure 2. Like I think the game's pretty good. I don't think like it is like the star example of a Sonic game or anything. Like I literally have 06 rated above it. Like I don't know. It's no secret that like I like the game quite a bit, but I'm not like a fanatic about it.
Yeah.
And even back then I was just like, this one's going too far. But I don't know how the like races continued after that. Like I literally don't remember the Heroes race.
We were kind of just like doing it because it was something to do.
I think the Heroes race was the only one I actually joined.
Yeah, I don't think you joined the other ones because you could emulate Heroes.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I played like the PC version of Heroes, which was
it's really bad,
unbearable. And I only played through the original, like the first story, and I think I just let you guys do the rest.
No, we only did one story.
Oh, okay.
Because finishing that game is finishing it 4 times.
Yeah.
And like
we skipped over Shadow.
We didn't do Shadow because it's not a Sonic game, and also we weren't going to play through it 10 times.
Yeah.
I like even through my streams, I de facto skipped over Shadow.
This side story, very short. At some point, me, Chris, and Josh decided, let's play Shadow the Hedgehog. And we decided we were just going to do all good story, all medium story, and all neutral, and then all bad. And then we would like hack in the final story.
No. And no, True Hero Story's fucking impossible.
It took us so fucking long. We were so tired of this fucking game. I hate Shadow the Hedgehog so much.
That game gives me an aneurysm. Like, I don't think there's a Sonic game I hate more than that thing. It's, like, so bad.
Do you, like, really hate Sonic and the Black Knight?
I hate its gameplay. I think its story, music, and graphics are all fantastic.
I do think it has really nice art.
Yeah, it's like a solid, like,
gameplay,
5.
that's not art. The rest of it is art.
So after Heroes, we did the 06 race. And the 06 race, I remember I won. Of course.
Yeah.
There's no human being on the planet who has played 06 more than me outside of speedrunners.
Some of my earliest experiences at your house was you, like, sitting me down in front of 06 and, like, jumping over invisible walls with, like, the weird gem and just, like, showing me the ins and outs of this, like, game where, like, the boundaries are just blown apart. And I thought that was great. You know all things about that game.
That game is a masterpiece. I love it so much. But like I am like easily the most experienced.
Yeah.
And I'd be like literally a full story ahead of people at times. And like I would just like I was finishing the game when I think Nyuu was like done with like the second story or something.
Yeah.
And like so after that, we moved on to the Unleashed race, and I gave Sayu my copy of Unleashed. And it was me, Josh, Nyuu, and Sayu. Sayu never joined us. Despite us, like, calling him out multiple times, being like, join the voice chat, we're doing Sonic. He just wouldn't join.
You got other things going on.
Apparently.
I think I was actually just busy every time.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's what you say.
Yeah, you were just afraid of liking the game.
I don't remember actually being opposed to playing Unleashed.
I mean, that's my whole thing, is I hate Sonic Unleashed. I can't let go of that.
That's my whole personality.
I'm nothing without this.
I know I would have like felt really bad if you bought the game and then I just didn't play it.
I did eventually get my copy back from you. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I gave it to one of my friends and he used it as a coaster.
Nice.
That game's $12. I didn't mind.
That is the optimal use for Sonic Unleashed.
Okay. Anyways, so like we did the Sonic Unleashed race, and like we made it about halfway through when you was like, I can't beat these enemies. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like,
I explained like the main thing.
Yeah. He was like, I put all my points into speed and now I can't beat the enemies. And I was like, why did you put all your points into speed? I told you not to do that.
And I was like, it's a Sonic game! You go fast!
And so,
to be fair, I would have done the exact same thing.
I think Josh did the exact same thing.
What?
Doesn't make me feel better.
I think Josh did the exact same thing.
No,
so,
I think most of their points were at speed though. Not all of them.
Yeah, just like a good chunk of them. But like the whole group was having trouble getting through this game for some reason. And then Josh was like slowly moving over to Sayu's side. Like, no, I think this game is bad. Because he did that for every game we played.
Yeah.
He didn't like any of them. And so I literally at that exact moment
I think I like Heroes. Because he played Heroes when he was a little baby.
Oh, you're right.
I also played Heroes when I was a little baby. I didn't like Heroes.
Me neither.
That was like my baby game next to Sonic 3D Blast.
3D Blast is like interesting. Like you have no idea how weird of a game you grew up with there.
Even on a programming level, that game's fucking insane.
Yeah, I don't know why it's like that. Anyways, so back to the point. Like Josh and Nyuu and I were all just like agreeing simultaneously, we should stop this.
Yeah.
Like, it was getting to a point where we didn't want to speak to each other.
We hated the games, and we hated each other.
Yeah, and it was getting really, really bad.
I could have swore you played through Sonic and the Secret Rings, though.
Yes, we did. We did play through Secret Rings.
That was a different event, though, wasn't it?
No, it was still the Sonic race.
No, I distinctly remember wanting your copy of it, and then you snapping it.
Yeah, I snapped it in half. Because Sayu wanted my copy after the race was done. But we were like, this thing is too evil to release into the wild.
It has to be put down.
It needs to die. So I finished the game, I beat the main villain, I beat a Razor Jin, and then I just...
And then he was truly defeated.
And then he recorded it, uploaded it onto YouTube, and then sent me the video.
And then Josh made fun of you for it.
Yeah. I don't know why he made fun of me for it.
Because you broke a video game. I don't know.
like even he has to recognize, like, he doesn't even like me. And he has to recognize that he's been entirely for the meme, right?
Yeah. It's your property. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, I can snap this $10 video game in half if I want. Like, when I had to do it for the streams, I was like, fuck.
Josh, I still love you.
If I had to do it for the streams.
As a friend, though.
No, I'll move.
I had to...
Maybe a little bit.
I'm almost fully there. We're just friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to stream the game for the Sonic Marathon. And I was like, fuck, I don't own a copy. So I messaged my friend Taylor. Taylor, shout outs to you for being a real homie here. And I was like, hey Taylor, do you have like a few extra dollars you can throw at me so that like I can order this? And he was like, I'll order it for you. And I was like, oh, sick, because I think I was out of work at the time and I didn't want to spend too much money. And so he just like ordered me the game, and when it got here, it was like sealed. And I was like, whoa, Taylor, you didn't need to spend this much money on me. And he was like, what do you mean spend this much money? And I was like, this is a sealed copy. And he was like, that was $10.
Where?
On eBay.
Just, is the game worth nothing?
Yeah, the game is worth nothing. It's like, it has the title of one of the worst Wii games of all time. Do you have any idea how hard it is to get on that list?
I mean, Drakengard sucked.
Drakengard's on PS2.
And
it's also Yoko Taro.
That's true.
So that's why that game's $100.
I mean, Klonoa 2 is like $20.
Klonoa 2 is not $20.
I mean, when I bought it, it was $30.
Okay, but that game's like really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 30's not like that much.
And now it's like $120.
What?
Yeah, that game's really expensive now.
What? Wait, actually think I can explain this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a copy of Klonoa 2. It's really good condition with the manual and everything. I got it for $30.
It's like, how?
Well, because at the time, that's all it was.
Nobody cared about Klonoa.
Even the sealed copy that was at that convention was like $90.
Yeah. Alright, okay, we should probably get back on topic.
Oh, yeah.
End of topic 2,
right.
which is Sonic.
Right.
What makes a video game good?
Well, we just talked about how Sonic 06 is the greatest fucking video game ever made.
Yeah.
And pretty contentious opinion right there. But you know what? I had more fun with Sonic 06 than I've ever had with like any other fucking Sonic game.
I think that's what makes a game good. Is they can just have more fun with it.
I mean, in case you can't tell where I'm coming from in terms of my opinions on things, it's 100% personal experience. Like, you heard my 3x3 opinions. It's all like fucking weird shit.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what my favorite game is, though.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm willing to say that, like, probably Half-Life Alyx is, like, way up there. Like, right now, VR games are, like, they kind of have a bonus.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those guys that always thought video games, like, compared to anime, were just not that interesting to me. Because I saw video games were mostly about kind of, like, this mechanical interaction with things where, like, you want to, like, get good at it and like build up your skills and stuff. And for some things that was really fun. Like me and Tom and you were all really into Project Diva.
Oh yeah. God, I fucking to this day I
was
love
always
Project
the
Diva.
best at it.
I did a couple.
No, you had your title taken.
No, that was me.
Yeah,
that was me.
I was the best at it for like a month.
I was the best in Project Diva PC era.
Yeah,
that's deep.
God, we gotta save some of this.
Oh yeah,
we gotta save some of this for future content. That's all I'm gonna say.
We'll save this for the Vocaloid episode.
We'll save this for future content.
Yeah,
that I am maybe in the process of making right now. You guys will see. I'm. My magnum opus, the greatest thing I'll ever create in my life.
Subscribe to Tom's. What's the channel?
Tom's House. That's
the
name.
I thought it was like Tom's Game House.
We'll save this for the future. We'll save this for the future content episode. That's
yeah. We'll save it for then. Yeah. Okay. What else? What were you saying?
I was saying that
something about Project Diva.
I was saying that I always thought video games were kind of about like mechanical mastery.
Yeah.
And that led to a lot of games kind of, in my opinion, like feeling very similar to play to one another. And even when they were good, it's like, I've already played this before. I think where I got my impression of video games was when I was really young. I had this little like demo disc for a bunch of PS2 games because PS2 was like one of my first consoles. I think the PS2 was specifically my first console where I was at a yard sale and I saw this PS2 for like $15 and I was like, I got $15. That's my PS2 now.
Yeah.
I have a console. Because my actual first console was a GameCube. But that was everybody's GameCube. PS2 was mine. And I had this demo disc because I'm like, a demo, that's like 10 games. I got like 10 games in one right here. And I tried all sorts of things. But the one that stood out the most was Eco.
Oh, yeah, Eco.
I played Eco when I was like 7.
Oh, I hope this doesn't fuck up the audio. I need to not be sitting on my knees for a while.
Yeah, okay. I played Eco when I was like 7.
Yeah.
And like at that point, I'd been playing like Nintendo games like Smash Melee, which is great. And I played Double Dash, which is the best Mario Kart.
Except of course.
7. I like 7.
Yeah.
And like all these little like Nintendo games that were really fun. I love the Nintendo games, but you know how Nintendo games are. They're all about like they're fun to jump around in.
They're gamey.
Arcadey. They're gamey.
They're incredibly gamey.
Eco starts up and there's no UI.
Yeah.
You're like this little kid. The game just goes and you just discover it in a very natural way. Mm-hmm. There's no dialogue.
Yeah.
And you just like intuitively. The game just unravels in front of you.
Yeah.
And I always was like, where do I get this game? Like, I had only the demo.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, I think it was part of the reason why I got into, like, this whole, like, experiential art thing. Where, like, that's what it's all about. It's because, like, yeah, Melee was fun. It was all great. I had really fun times. One of my earliest experiences was like I 100%ed. One of my first DS games was Kirby Superstar Ultra.
Yeah,
100% that game. And when those credits played, I cried. I was get video game made me cry. And like my mom was like, "Why are you crying about the video game?" And I'm like, "It's so good." I had so much fun, Mom. You don't get it. It's over now. Like, I was so upset that the game was over. And, like, that was the highest experience that I ever had with the game. And I wanted to know what the end of Eco was like.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I don't even know what the ending of Eco was like.
I never finished Eco.
We need to do that at some point.
I played it for 5 minutes and I stopped.
Yeah. The thing about Eco is that it is incredibly hard to stick with. Like, Shadow of the Colossus is much more gamified than Eco is, which I think is why a lot of people finish it more. It's still, like, very experience-driven.
Yeah.
But, like Eco...
There is more, like, numbers.
Yeah.
You have a health bar.
Yeah, and, like, you have a goal in front of you. Eco, there is no goal. It's just you go.
Yeah.
You keep experiencing the game until it's over.
Like, you're locked in this castle and you want to get out.
You just explore it.
You're right there with the character the whole time.
Yeah.
You meet the girl and you kind of feel the same way about the girl as the character would. Just intuitively.
Yeah, and like there's no like map to fill out. There's no like number of puzzles to solve. There's nothing in this game that orients you to how far you are in it. There's nothing in this game that gives you an idea of like how the experience is structured. There's nothing in Eco that guides you through it as an experience. It is incredibly difficult to stick with because of that. You can't think like, I'm going to boot this up and I'm going to kill 2 colossi today.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I'm going to walk around the castle some more.
Yeah, I'm gonna boot up Eco, and then we're just gonna go. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Whatever.
There's for a lot of the different parts of the game, though, there is some semblance of like, oh, I'm starting to make my way out of this weird labyrinth. Yeah. A lot of the time, you're just indoors, and you don't actually know where you are.
Yeah. Like, most of the time, you're literally, like, trapped somewhere, and you just have no concept of, like, where even to go.
So I got all that in the demo.
Yeah.
And I was, like, 7.
Yeah.
And I was, like I had no idea what was going on. So, like, in my brain, like, Nintendo games were, like, these ultimate fun party games. Nintendo, you bring your friends over, you play Nintendo game, you play Chibi Robo, you play, like, fucking, Custom Robo, a lot of Robo games.
Yeah.
You play, like, Melee and, like, all of these really fun with friends. And then you go home, you're alone at night, you boot up the PlayStation, and you, like, have, like, that's when you're, like, that's when you're growing up. That's when you're having the adult experience.
Yeah.
Because PS2 games were weird.
Uh-huh.
A lot of PS2 games were experimental and odd.
I think my first experience with, like, a game like this that was, like, super fucking bizarre and like eclectic. Or, is that how you say that? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's eclectic.
Eclectic, yeah, but like completely like
it's esoteric.
Esoteric, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Something like that, you know. Like, the first experience I've ever had with the game like that was Panzer Dragoon Orta. Have you ever seen anything about Panzer Dragoon Orta?
Not exactly.
This game is a game that simply does not care if you understand the images that it is putting on your screen. It's just like, it's like a rail shooter, right?
Yeah.
You're flying on the dragon and you're moving the dragon around, and like it's got like the best rail shooter gameplay like ever, because you're like rotating your camera around the dragon to shoot from the sides and from behind and from in front of you, and it's like really frantic and like hard to get through. That game's like really hard.
Yeah.
But like the story of Panzer Dragoon Orta was just not comprehensible. And I played this game when I was like incredibly young.
Yeah.
I don't know how old I was. I was still getting in, like I was still game collecting really, really fucking passionately back then.
Yeah.
And that was why I picked up Orta. And so, you know, like I was like, it's a Sega game. I want to play the Saturn one, but that's like really expensive. So I'll just order this one. And like I experienced its plot and I was like,
yeah,
what is this? Video games can like do this? What? You know? And it was like the first time my mind just didn't like write it off, you know?
Yeah.
Like I must have experienced it at some point before this. I don't think this was before or like after I played Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
So, you know, that game was like the first time I like got a video game. Like the point it was trying to get me to understand.
Like something after the game was over stuck in your head that you could like refer back to, and it changed the way you saw stuff.
Yeah. Like I still remember the first, like when I killed the first Colossus. And like I was at my grandparents' house and I had bought the game for like $15 from like a used game store. Which, looking back on it, that's insane.
Yeah.
If you charge $15 for Shadow of the fucking Colossus, you're an idiot.
A lot of those stores didn't know.
No, no one, like, knew back then.
Yeah.
Like, Shadow of the Colossus was a name that was, like, passed around in, like, hushed tones, you know?
Mostly because, like, it was in this one, like, weird comedy movie where, like, these two characters played Shadow of the Colossus all the time. I don't know much about it. But I know that movie is, like, what made Shadow of the Colossus, like, a popular name.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what movie that was.
I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, it was... Anyways, the point is, like, I was at my grandparents' house, and I was just, like, sitting there, like at, like, in the little room that they like, had that I could walk into while they were playing cards with my parents.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to hear the adult conversation, so I brought a console with me. And I was just sitting there playing Shadow of the Colossus, like, and I killed the first Colossus, and I was like, oh, yay, I did it! Why don't I feel good?
Yeah.
Why is this bad? Why do I feel like this?
Yeah. And over time, it just keeps compiling.
Yeah.
And you're, like, corrupted.
Yeah, and you keep feeling bad about it. It's a really, like, that is...
I think, okay, Shadow of the Colossus spoilers. The most effective part of the entire game isn't the part at the end where, like, you see Wander become, like, a big evil, like, spirit man. It's the part where you first climbed up the top of the final Colossus. Yeah. And you see all of the beams of light that are in front of this one unmoving guy, where you realize this final Colossus is intelligent, it can know things, it can communicate, and it has done nothing this whole time but watch one by one those beams of light pierce the sky.
Yeah, and like...
you're on it.
Yeah, you are killing it right now. It's too late. And, like, I don't know, like, its death scene after that is, like, really good, too.
Yeah.
Where this thing, it can't fall over. All the others fall over and sort of crumble into stone.
Yeah.
And this guy, what is his name? Do you remember?
No.
It's the only one whose name ever stuck with me. But I don't remember it anymore. But, his, like, weird skirt thing that he wears, he collapses like he's going to go down on his knees, but he gets stuck. The stone skirt thing stops him. He can't fall anymore. And so he leans backwards and his body just goes limp.
Yeah.
And it's like,
bro.
Oh, I did that.
The life is just sucked out.
Yeah. And it helps that it's, like, that last one is the most human Colossus.
Yeah.
Like, you've got, like, a couple, like, Minotaur-type ones that are sort of wandering around, but for the most part, they're all really animalistic. Yeah. So it's, like,
even the one guy, like, I think the second Colossus with the big, like, baseball bat thing, they're human shape, but they don't seem to have, like, big thoughts going on.
No,
they're kind of, like,
intelligence.
Stupid giant guy.
He just hits you with his club.
Yeah, like, and he keeps making the same mistake over and over again.
Yeah, and, like, that one specifically, he's like the other ones you sort of have to piss off to get their eyes to turn orange, and by then you've noticed that, you know? Yeah. But he looks at you, and on sight, his eyes turn the aggressive orange color, and he attacks.
You don't hit him. He holds you in, like, his hand. You're climbing on his finger, and he's staring directly at you.
Yeah, no, that's the final one, yeah.
He, like, analyzes you.
Yeah.
And recognizes that you're the one.
Yeah. Yeah, the final one, like, does, like, really cool stuff with that.
Yeah.
He's, like, the only one that has, like, a lead up to him that's, like, really hard. That's the hardest part of the fight, is getting to him.
Yeah.
Because he's literally blasting you with, like, these lightning bolts the whole time.
Yeah.
And you have to, like, dodge behind cover over and over again. Honestly, if I had to point at a game they're like, what is the objectively best video game ever? And I was given some time to think about it, I probably would be like, it's probably Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
And not the remake. I want to stress that.
I also want to stress, remake is simply not as good. Now, you can chime in if you want with your thoughts on remakes.
I only ever actually played the remake of Shadow of the Colossus.
No, you played the original.
I mean, you didn't play it, but you were there with us when we played through the whole
thing. Was it Josh or Sayu who had the controller?
I don't believe I played the original ever. I think I was at, like, a thing where we played the remake.
No, we didn't. We played the PS3 version.
Yeah, the PS3 one.
Which is pretty much just an upscale of PS2 one.
It runs 10 FPS faster.
Yeah. Well, variable between 10 to 20.
Yeah. And that's only because the PS2 one drops to 10 sometimes.
I actually wanted to say, I think the PS2 version is the best version of the game.
Yeah, probably.
Because there's a certain value to, like, you can kind of, like, feel the immenseness and, like, power of an enemy when it comes on screen, and it alone is dropping the whole fucking system. It's like reaching across the fourth wall and affecting the real world simulation machine it's running on.
Yeah. That's a really good way of putting it. If you get the chance, Shadow of the Colossus is best experienced on the PS2.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt.
But the PS3 version is just as good.
Yes.
If you really care about the frame rate.
And it comes with Eco as well, if you are curious about that game.
You get value.
Yeah. But yes. Sayu, you have been quiet. Would you like to chime in with what your favorite video game is?
Oh.
Right now.
I'm spending this whole time trying to think about what my game is.
Yeah,
I
can't even think of it.
I'm just, like, trying to decide between Nier Automata and Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to decide this ever since I played Nier Automata, which was the second of the two that I played.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I'm really quiet.
we haven't been harassing the editor enough this episode.
Yeah.
Editor, quick, show a PS2 bursting into flames because it's running Shadow of the Colossus. No, so Sayu. Yes, so Nier Automata or Shadow of the Colossus. Or not Shadow of the Colossus, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
I feel like it's way easier to articulate why I like Breath of the Wild, so I'm going to just say that.
Okay, but I mean, like, there's something to be said about, like, it's hard to articulate why you like Nier Automata, because anyone who's played it knows that game is just like that.
I wouldn't say Nier Automata is, like, my favorite, but when I played it for, like, a week, it was. Yeah,
it's a really good game. I do request that we keep spoilers to it, of it to a minimum.
Yeah, because that one's more recent.
Yeah, it's very recent, and, like, I'm currently running a series on my channel of the original Nier.
Yeah.
So
Are you going to follow it up with Automata?
I don't want to spoil too many of my plans with Automata, but I am someday planning on doing Automata, but I want to wait till I'm bigger so that I have more flexibility with these plans.
Yeah, and you figured out the format more.
I have big plans for Nier Automata.
Okay.
Originally, I went into Let's Plays being like, I'm gonna do Kingdom Hearts so right. But, like, Automata has become my new goal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Automata is just such an interesting game.
I don't feel like, even though it became really popular, I don't feel like Nier Automata has actually been, like, dissected in a very, like, personal, emotional way.
I have looked up a couple of, like, analysis videos on Nier Automata, and they were very, like, dry.
Yeah.
They were explaining the roots of a lot of the game's philosophies and, like, what the game was about, and I understand the game now. I know what the game was trying to tell me.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. It's just like, I've been thinking about it ever since, and I feel like if I were to make a series like that, I would want to combine these two topics. I would want to give the explanations of the different philosophies that Nier Automata is, like, tackling, and I would love to do that while doing a Let's Play of the game, so that the people who are watching it can understand what Nier Automata is trying to tell them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just like part of my future.
All right, we'll get there.
Yeah, so Sayu, is there anything you wanted to articulate about Breath of the Wild?
I think we should all find our favorite games.
Oh yeah,
But
Sayu, talk about Breath of the Wild. I'll think about that.
Yeah.
Well, now that I have the floor, it's really hard to talk.
Well, what's your experience with Breath of the Wild?
Yeah,
it's good.
Like, how did you get there?
Yeah.
Well,
like, we started with that playthrough on, like, day one.
Yeah.
I remember you were the only one that was actually following, like, the news of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when Breath of the Wild was coming out, I followed, like, every bit of hype for it. Except for, I specifically avoided any footage of the Divine Beasts, because I wanted that to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or any bosses. But everything else was fair game in my brain.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, it, like, kind of, like, because, like, everything I was hearing from, like, all the reviewers were, like...
Like, unbelievable.
Yeah.
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 Like, greatest fucking video game ever made!
Like, literally everything. It just sounded like a fake video game.
Yeah, like, this is the video game that people imagine what the greatest game ever made is.
Yeah, this is like what all the Far Cries and Assassin's Creed promise you.
Yeah, where you go anywhere.
You see those mountains in the distance? You can go there.
And it has a giant world, and everything's filled to the brim with stuff.
And, like, they meant it this time.
Yeah, this time it was, like, actually that.
Yeah.
And we discovered that on that first day.
900 Koroks.
It sucks that first day was so ruined for Tom. Because, like, explain how it was for, like, you and me.
Okay, so, like, the first day from... since I was following the game, I think I got the most playtime because we were trading off on death.
Yeah.
Which I'm realizing was probably a mistake.
And Sayu is the ultimate gamer.
I am the perfect gamer.
Yeah.
As featured right here, beating Clown House, the world record. Editor, put that in.
Alright. Ignore the better one.
Yeah, don't pay
Ignore
attention.
the more world record.
They probably cheated.
Yeah.
Yeah. They probably tasked.
It was a task.
But yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
actually.
we got everybody together, like, all of the friend group at the time. We got together at Sayu's house, and we sat down, like, most of us were totally blind, didn't know anything about the game.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even interested in Zelda.
Yeah.
And you started up the game, you started playing it, and... Yeah. What was it like? Explain it.
Okay. So, the intro happened, and it was, like, exactly what I had seen in the video.
Yeah.
But it was really epic, still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then it started
I
kind of, like, going along, and you started experimenting.
Yeah, one thing I really liked about the game is, like, it and Metal Gear Solid 5 are the two games I've ever played where, like, you can actually, like, do stupid shit with the enemy all the time, and it was so fun.
You know what? I'll go really in depth on my thought on the Metal Gear franchise someday.
Eventually,
But I will give Metal Gear Solid 5. It feels good.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot with it.
Yeah. I really like those, like, I really like those games that let you
Yeah.
do you know like how Donkey plays video games.
Yeah.
I like the games where you can do that.
Where you just fuck around.
I still have yet to play any of the Hitman games, but those look like you can do
I hear that Hitman is like kind of the series that's all about it.
Yeah. It takes itself very seriously externally. I see a trailer for a Hitman game, and I'm like, this is like, are they serious?
I think when you start playing the game, it gets really silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the marketing is just
yeah. But yes, continue, Sayu.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that part. I think actually the one video that got me the most hype out of any video that I saw wasn't actually like a promotional thing. It was just like some dumb video of someone playing the demo, and they like launched and they like and they made like a catapult.
Yeah. Out of like all the physics objects.
Yeah, and they dropped a rock down, and they went up into the air and then dropped down and fucking died. And that was like the most hype I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean,
for a video game, like the fact that you could just do that.
I don't think people give enough credit to this. A lot of what makes Breath of the Wild feel like such a tangible world is like that Half-Life 2 effect, where like all the objects have their physical properties and they can interact with each other and you can do shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Half-Life 2, to this day, I should talk about Half-Life because that's some of my favorite fucking things in the world.
Yeah.
Half-Life 2 to this day feels like a really, really tangible game world. Even though it's level-based, like there's chapter to chapter, it's always perfectly constructed. Every part of it feels very tangible because when you throw a fucking grenade into the room, all the shelves fucking fly apart and the shit that was on them bounce all around.
Yeah.
And like, you can knock things onto Combine and it'll crush them and die. And like, I think tangibility is a really underrated aspect of what makes a game feel good, beyond just movement mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Breath of the Wild has a ton of that.
It's like, Breath of the Wild does a thing. I was watching this YouTube guy named Game Maker's Toolkit.
Yeah.
And he talks a lot about, like, aspects of video games and, like, why they're cool and good. And he mentioned something that I don't remember.
Kinesthetics?
No, it's like some...
Game feel.
It was, like, systemic... I don't fucking remember.
I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, he mentioned... It's like when, instead of the game world being designed to interact with everything like a really rigid way, like in a traditional Zelda game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more designed like they give you like a bunch of tools and they do these things and you can just do whatever with that tool set.
And those things can interact with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think one of the things that really kind of like clicked what Breath of the Wild was when I first played it was like, you light the grass on fire and then that becomes like an air updraft.
Yeah.
And then I realized you can turn the jellies into fire jellies, and so you shoot the fire jellies, and that lights the grass on fire. And you can do all this weird shit. Just, like, stack different interactions on top of each other, and they just become other things.
And when you drop octo balloons on physics objects, it makes them float out.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can kind of use that to, like... I mean, in terms of raw gameplay, the game never gets elaborate enough for you to actually like feel like, oh, this would be the most optimal way to do this.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to, you could put a bunch of fire jellies on like a fucking like little like raft thing, and then you can load it up on like octo balloons, and then when the enemies are underneath it, you could shoot the balloons and it drops all the fire jellies on them and they fucking blow up and light on fire.
Yeah.
Like there's so many fucking fun things you can do.
Yeah. The thing about Breath of the Wild, though, is it's like kind of like a really... It is my favorite game, I've decided now while talking about it.
Yeah.
Talking it up.
But it's like kind of like a really good base for a game. It doesn't like build on its mechanics enough.
Yeah.
In my opinion. That's like the one problem I have with it. Like, it doesn't like, there's no real incentive to get really creative with anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of just fun, which I think is good, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, same
wish-
thing with MGS5. You brought up the same thing.
I mean,
MGS5.
yeah.
You just fucking trank people that whole game.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sayu, I wanted to Breath of the Wild, I think, strikes me as what would be your favorite game, specifically because it doesn't have too much that would force you to do it, but you can do it if you want.
I think,
and like that seems to be like the kind of thing that you're like really drawn to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
think an interesting conversation here. Like, we all have the experiential like priority where it's like, oh, your personal experience matters, but what do we actually value in an experience? Because we all have very different favorite games.
I said, like, very specifically, like, a while ago, it was like a meme in the group chat, but I meant it. I said, and, like, I'm partially quoting here, was, game feel? Well, what about how I feel?
Yeah.
And, like, that's, like, how I view this kind of thing. Like, if it makes me feel the positive emotions, I'll stick with it. You know, like, I'm awful at Bayonetta, but I fucking love those games.
Yeah.
They're so good. And so, like, I'm trying really hard to figure it out, and I've got it in my head. Narrowed down to 2 games. I've gotten it down to 2 games. My favorite game is either Sonic Adventure or BioShock 2. And I cannot, like, at all, like, narrow it down any further than
I should have tried to make a 3x3, not to show it, but just to think about.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. Like, Sonic Adventure, of course, like I played it when I was pretty young, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember how old I was when I played the first one. But, like, Adventure has, like, this very deep story that's, like, really complex. It's got a lot of moving parts in it, and, like, you experience it through the guise of, like, 6 different playable characters. So, like, you're experiencing the story in, like, chunks and seeing how they all intertwine and interact with one another. Like, there's a cutscene in, like, Sonic's story where, like, Sonic shows up and he's about to fight Chaos 6.
Yeah.
And Big is standing in the background, and Big cuts in the middle of the cutscene and goes, "Froggy!" And there's, like, the frog in Chaos.
Yeah.
And Sonic's like, "Is that your friend?" And he just sort of looks at him and he goes, "Okay, I'll help." And, like, it gives you an idea of, like, who Sonic is as, like, a person there.
Yeah.
And you instantly feel who Big is and you understand who he is. And immediately afterwards, the game's like, you can now play as Big. And so, like, you go and you do that, and you experience the world through, like, Big's eyes this time. And you see that, like, he's so innocent.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand a lot of what's happening because he's not directly involved with any of the cast. And, like he's very, like, sheltered, and, like, he just wants to hang out with his best friend. And the game, like, Big story ends with you fishing Froggy out of Chaos 6 and, like, going home. That's when Big's story ends. It's like not even the end of the plot. And Big doesn't even show up again until, like, fucking, like, you know, final story when Station Square is, like, fucking demolished.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, he shows up, and Big has brought the Chaos Emeralds with him. He's, like, he just has them with him. And you're, like, so you get, like, a really good feel for who Big is. And that's, like, the first time that's ever happened to me in, like, a video game story. I use Big as an example because he's the character that I don't mind spoiling as much. Like, the best example of this is E102 Gamma, who might just be the best written Sonic character maybe ever. I don't know if either of you know anything about his story, and if you don't, go play the game. Like,
okay.
Oh my god, his story is amazing.
I definitely have to go back and play those old Sonic Adventure games, because it's been a while.
Yeah, but I don't, like, Sonic Adventure is, like, matched up in my head against BioShock 2. Like, BioShock 1 is, like, amazing, don't get me wrong. I think BioShock 1 is, like, this incredible game that just has a lot, like, going for it design-wise. But BioShock 2 specifically, like, it gives you such a personal attachment to the setting. BioShock 1, you're like a dude from the outside, you crash land in the ocean, you get, like, you go down into Rapture, and then you're just in Rapture from then on, right? You're experiencing the world, you're talking to the people, you're killing them, you're making decisions about the world around you.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, do I save the little sisters? Do I kill them? Do I, you know, reap the bigger reward and get the bad ending? Or do I, like, stick with it, help Tenenbaum out, and, like, do the right thing? You know, like, what is it that I want to do? And, like, BioShock 2 takes that concept, and it builds on it. And then it takes you, the player, and it puts you in the game's world, like, actually.
Yeah.
This time you are not Jack who got swooped in. You are a big daddy.
Yeah.
You're one of the people who guards the little sisters. And, like, your little sister has been taken from you.
Yeah.
And the game is getting her back. If you listen to, like, your character throughout the game, in that game, the only sounds you make are the sounds that the Big Daddies made in Bioshock 1. You were making grunting and screaming sounds when you're getting hurt.
Yeah.
And, like you are a monster in the eyes of this entire world, and the world treats you accordingly. There's a lot of good people in that game, which is not something I can say about Bioshock 1.
Yeah.
Everyone you meet in Bioshock 1 is a psychopath.
They're like a caricature of like a despicable human.
Yeah, exactly. Like Sander, or was it Sander Cohen? Andrew Cohen? What?
Yeah.
Cohen.
I
gonna
know
call
that
him
there's
Cohen.
a lot of like weird political undertones to the like Shock series.
Yeah.
And a lot of what happens in the first Bioshock is like a criticism of like capitalism as a whole.
Yeah, and it's specifically Randian philosophy, which
like ANCAP shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get super into it, but yeah, just know like it is very political.
And
but
part of like the big thing about ANCAP shit is how it kind of just turns everybody into a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, it turns everyone into a monster. But, like, Bioshock 2 is, like, after this ANCAP society has collapsed, and it's literally turned into a cult.
Yeah.
Like, a cult of personality around this one woman named, it's Sophia. Sophia Lamb. Eleanor Lamb is, like, your little sister.
Yeah.
But Sophia Lamb is, like this psychologist who knows how to manipulate all the junkies in Rapture to be her and to, like, worship her. And throughout the game, you meet several of her lackeys. They're really just people who are in roles of, like, leadership in their community, you know? Like, one of the ones that sticks out in my head is Grace Holloway.
Yeah.
She is a woman who runs, or sort of takes care of these, like, slum areas. And, like, throughout the entire area, she's like, "You're not gonna get that little girl, you fucking monster." And she's, like, saying it over, like, the intercom, like, super seriously, like, "You are a monster. That thing isn't human, and it's trying to take a little girl. We have to stop it." And, like, you are going through this area, you are, like, desperate to get your little sister back, like, for a large variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And, like, you get to her, and she's like, "Fine, I'll give you the key to get out of these slums." And she opens the door, and you walk in.
Yeah.
And you can just look at her. And she's just staring at you. And you can kill her.
Yeah.
The game makes it very clear that you can kill her in that exact moment. And whether or not you kill her is entirely up to you. You can just take the key and leave. You can fucking behead her. Like, you know, whatever. But if you don't, the moment you walk out that door, she goes, "Maybe I was wrong." She's like, she has this, like, crisis where she's like, "What? Maybe he's not a monster." And then she gives you help throughout the rest of the area.
Yeah.
When you're trying to leave, you get bombarded by really hard enemies, and she sends, like, a bunch of sentry bots to help you. And it's, like, such, like, this powerful moment in the game, and they do it over and over again. There's, like, characters who are, like, giant sleazeballs who, like, try to swindle you and, like, ruin your life, and, you know, you have to, like, you have to make that decision over and over again. And I'm gonna just say spoiler warning for the ending
all
of
this been spoilers. I never played the game, but I don't care about spoilers.
Spoiler warning for the ending of Bioshock 2.
Unless it's Danganronpa.
Every single time you make one of these choices, the game sort of increments a counter, basically.
Yeah.
And the best possible ending, so you get to the end of the game, and there is, like, a submarine that you have to, like, get out, get, like, out of the city, because the city is going to be destroyed. Rapture does not survive Bioshock 2 in any capacity, basically. I think there's still some bits of it that are still remaining, and it's only, like, one wing of it that fell into the ocean, or fell deeper into the ocean. It falls into, like, that trench, you know? But, like, it's, like, the rest of it, you know? Is, like, not long for this world anyways.
Yeah.
But, like, Sophia Lamb is on that whatever it is, that, the submarine, there it is.
Yeah.
And you have to, like, rescue all the little sisters and get them all on there. And as you are playing through the game, like, your little sister is watching you. And by this point in the game, she's a big sister.
Yeah.
Which is, like, an enemy type in the game that is, like super fucking difficult to beat.
Yeah.
And so, you have you're working with your big sister, like, going through the game, or this final area, rescuing all these little girls and, like, getting them onto the submarine. and helping them all escape. And the pit, the main cockpit of the submarine is actually filled with water for story reasons. And you ride out of Rapture by jumping onto the side of it, and sort of like riding the waves out of it, and you are looking in the window as to what's happening, and you get no say on this ending from the final area onwards. The choices you have made throughout the game as your little sister watches you determines this ending. And if you killed even one of those people, she decides, fuck it, I'm not letting Sophia Lamb live. This woman is too dangerous to be kept alive, and I do not need to pity her. But if you saved everybody, if you proved that, like, killing these people is, like, wrong, you know? Then, like, she lives. She, like, gets brought out of the sub, like, into, like, a little air pocket by your little sister. And she lives because of the decisions you made. And by the end of the game, this affects how your little sister views you. She, like, there's the final cutscene of the game is she takes out, like, a syringe, and she, like, stabs it into you. And if you were a good person throughout the game, she drinks the atom that she's pulled out of your body so that your memories can live on inside of her as your body dies. You cannot survive outside of Rapture. There's no way for you to do it. And the other ending, if you fucked up and you were a bad person, she takes the atom out of you and then throws it away and pushes your body into the water. And you're just gone. Like, she's like, you are irredeemable too. And it's like, it's such like a fucking message about like what Bioshock 2 like wants to convey on top of some of the tightest game mechanics any first-person shooter has ever had. Like, the game is like undoubtedly like a masterpiece in how it is constructed and a lot of other things about it. Unfortunately, there was not a good way to play it because the Windows version is like really old and it crashes constantly.
And the remaster is not as good as the original.
The remaster's fine, but it also crashes.
Why?
They didn't fix it. It's literally just the same game, but
they
there's
changed the assets.
A little bit. They changed
just a
few of them, and I think they reworked the lighting to be a little bit more like cinematic or something.
It's more high contrast and stuff.
I'd say either version's fine. You get both of them when you play it on Steam, so like whatever.
I have been thinking. Or do you have anything more to say? Because
so I'll just wrap up and say it's probably like easy to tell then. Like, I have so much to say about both of these fucking games. I cannot possibly choose between them. I think they are both like seriously the best examples of what this medium can do.
To me, I've really been thinking, and you know what? In the future, I might totally reevaluate things. I've always been like an animation guy. I'm very into like images and stories being told. That's really what I'm all about. And I think a lot of the reason for that is that I'm very emotionally driven. I really care about like the emotions that go inside people, like people's fucking internal workings and their unique aspects. And I think a lot of the value of art in general is a controlled environment where anybody can like go in and kind of experience new emotions or reflect back on their own and kind of play with them in new ways. Where like, no matter what, things that go on in art happen inside the viewer. And that's what it's all about. And video games are different than most other forms of art, where not only is it how you feel while you're experiencing the art, it's what you're doing while you're doing it. Because all these different things, they can touch different parts of your psyche, but only video games can touch what you are doing while you play it. And that's the meaningful distinction. And that's why I think a lot of my favorite games are kind of about... I had this weird experience where I was watching... I'm going to go on a tangent. I was watching the OP to the original Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, and that entire OP is entirely CG, whereas the rest of the show is animated in 2D like any other anime. But there's something about CG artwork
Yeah.
Like, I really, really value 2D animation over CG, but something about CG, even though I don't think it's as appealing to see,
Yeah.
it touches a part of your brain where you know that the camera can move to a different place.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know that even though it's not a real thing, it is essentially a tangible space.
Yeah.
And video games allow you to do that. They allow you to take this tangible space and begin to interact with it as if you were the one making decisions within it. And there can be all of these interactive elements about it. One of my favorite things about Breath of the Wild and all of these other games is that what I care about in games is experiencing not just emotions, but discovering a place and, like, doing things within it. I think Breath of the Wild, even though all the criticisms you can make about it, Breath of the Wild has an extremely well thought out world in that every detail within it means something about the world that it's in. Where you can explore the world of Breath of the Wild, and without actually, like, you, the player, are the ones deciding where to go, what information to piece together. Like, even though you only get stuff like Korok seeds and you get weird items and stuff, there's different things in that game. Like, there was this guy, I have to find the name of it, I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
Yeah.
But there was this guy who basically wrote a book on, like, the history of Hyrule, told specifically just through what you see in the map of Breath of the Wild.
Oh my god.
Because Nintendo did put in the thought. A lot of the design that went into the world of Breath of the Wild is about its history. And none of that is told directly in the story. Like, or not much of it.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that you see about the world are purely just through exploration. That's the kind of shit I like. I like that there's so much of the world in Shadow of the Colossus that, though it's not specifically gameplay interactive, the fact that you are the one moving through the space, your decisions and where you went and what you saw are part of your experience with the game.
Yeah.
And all these things about interactivity, the tangibility of worlds. I care about the way that when you watch an anime, your experiences going in are what's reflected on. Like, what you have thought of and your feelings on what you're seeing, that's part of what it means to you. I like games that meaningfully contextualize the decisions and actions that you took within them.
Yeah.
Beyond just technical mastery, because I really don't care about getting good at a game. The only reason I ever, like, want to get good at games is because it's a social thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I never got good at Project Diva.
Yeah.
I love Project Diva because it's just a fun way to interact with, like, this culture that I care a lot about. But when I play different games, like fucking The Witness. The Witness is a game which is barely interactive. But the information you're piecing together from the world, that game is denser than any other fucking video game you'll ever play in your life. I think density is where I disconnect with video games a lot. Because you can put so much into 1 minute of animation, but how much do you get out of 1 minute of playing a video game?
Not a whole lot.
But there are some games where that's different.
I would make the argument here that as far as video games are concerned, most of the time the artistic message you're going to get out of it, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Oh, for sure.
Like that little interaction I told you about with Grace Holloway, by itself, the fact that you're making that decision probably isn't gonna, like, it might stick with you as, like, a big moment in the game, but it won't be like, oh, you know. But once you get to the ending and you see your little sister mirroring the exact actions you did throughout the game,
recontextualizes every decision that you made while you played the game. Very small things. That's where the density in video games come from. Is if your actions are meaningful, you are making hundreds, if not thousands, of decisions every minute. And that's more than can go on in an animation. So a lot of my favorite games rely very much on player-driven actions, discovering something, and most of all, feeling like you're a part of a world. I'm not big on the open world craze, but VR has completely recontextualized everything that I thought about video games as a medium for art. A lot of 2D video games that I play now are more about technical mastery. When I play like a 2D game, I want it to kind of be Nintendo-y.
Yeah.
When I say 2D, I don't just mean side-scrollers. I mean like 3D games and stuff that you play on a TV.
Oh, yeah.
But when I'm playing a VR game, that is the whole immersion aspect of video games. Like, I've never cared that much about immersion media. People say like, oh, watching an anime and a character did a thing and it broke my immersion. I don't care that much about it.
Yeah.
But when I play a VR game, immersion is everything. And that's because there's an aspect of video games that as a medium that only really became apparent to me.
It's been using the laptop mic.
No fucking way.
I think it was using that earlier, though, when we did the mic check.
Yeah.
What kind of microphone does this thing have?
I don't know how good it's going to sound when you listen to it on headphones.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay, this is still good audio. We're having a good discussion right now.
Yeah, we're using it. Fuck it. I don't care if this episode is like fucking terrible. We've been talking around this thing.
Yeah, this is not a... That's not a mic. We have a really good microphone centered in front of us.
Literally sitting like right in front of us.
And there's a fucking laptop over there. That's just
I'm sliding the laptop closer.
Okay.
Welcome to the discussion, Mr. Laptop.
All right.
Get out of here, Mr. Dead Microphone.
Holy shit, we're over 2 hours. It's gonna take so long to normalize.
We should totally like cut all of that out and then just say technical difficulties.
No, I love the fucking talk we've been having.
Yeah.
But
well, no, not
the whole, just all of that.
Yeah,
no. Cut out
messing with
like
the laptop.
Yeah. No. Keep all of that. Just have it be there.
Yeah. What I wanted to say about VR is this kind of ties back into my weird technological insanity.
Yeah. As it all does.
VR is in its earliest stages right now. We're in like the Super Nintendo of VR. Yeah. Like VR existed back in the 90s, but technically video games were invented in the 40s.
Yeah.
Do you actually know that?
The original was like made out of like sonar equipment or something, right?
Yeah, there was like some weird military equipment in the earliest computers, and like somebody decided to make like a weird game on it.
Yeah.
That they would just play.
I think it was a version of tennis or something.
So we had like the earliest VR in like the mid 90s, and now we're going up. It's becoming consumer ready. We had like the Nintendo of VR when like the first Oculus came out. It was only 3 DOF. And now we have 6 DOF. Do you know what DOF is?
Depth of field?
No. That is it in a different medium.
Yeah.
But in VR, DOF is degrees of freedom. The amount of movement that can happen. Or the amount of interactivity in terms of pure tracking that can happen. Yeah. So 6 DOF means you can move in basically 6 degrees of freedom. There's rotation, and then there's physical movement, and that's 3 degrees each.
Okay.
So 6 DOF.
Yeah.
6 DOF movement changed the game on VR because once you could walk around your entire room, at first it was kind of like a more immersive 3D TV where you could look around, you had a 360 video, and that's all the Oculus was initially. Yeah. And then Vive came along, it made 6 DOF the standard. You now had a whole room, and in that space, every movement you made was your movement. There was games where all you would do is you would stand in a little room and you had your controllers, you had your helmet, and you would walk around, and when you moved in the real world, you were moving through the game world. And internally, you process that as being in that space. Yeah. Like suddenly that tangible feeling you get when you watch a little CG animation where you're like, I want to move the camera around. Now, that becomes, I want to walk to that place. Yeah. And so I would really say that right now, one of my favorite games I've ever fucking played is Half-Life Alyx. Yeah. Even though, going back to what you said, Sayu, about how Breath of the Wild has so much it can expand on.
Mm-hmm.
Breath of the Wild is still one of the best games right now because it was just doing things better than anybody else, and it kind of touched on parts of the game experience in ways that a lot of games before it just didn't. Even though Breath of the Wild definitely takes a lot of inspiration from stuff that already existed, it does it in new ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Same thing with Half-Life Alyx.
It actually delivers on the promise that every other game.
Yeah. And Half-Life Alyx is a lot of that for VR games, where VR was all about, like, step into this world. It's like a thing that you can interact with. You explore it. You go from start to finish. A lot of VR games had all these ideas for ways of interacting with worlds and kind of how movement should work. And Half-Life Alyx had been in development so long that by the time it came out, VR had already evolved past it, and people thought, Half-Life Alyx feels old. It's focused around teleport movement. You don't have a body, you only have hands. Mm-hmm. It kind of doesn't let you pick up weapons. The weapons are just in an inventory that you select from a menu.
Yeah.
But despite all this, it does everything that early VR games wanted to do better than anything else. Mm-hmm. Where I actually prefer playing it with teleport movement, even though it supports smooth locomotion. Yeah. Because when you're teleporting, smooth locomotion gives you this experience of sliding over the world that you're standing in, where it doesn't feel like you're moving. It feels like the world is moving beneath you.
Yeah.
And even though you don't consciously recognize that after a time, a lot of people who play VR games have gotten used to that.
Yep.
I've always recognized that immersion breaking element of it. But when you think, I'm going to go over there, you're already there.
Fuck yeah.
You don't have to think about the time you're in transit when you walk from one side of a room to another. Like if you were from getting up from a couch, adjusting the volume on a TV without a remote, you don't think about how the world is moving past you. You don't even recognize it. You just think, I want to be there. You get up and you're already there. That's how teleport movement is in Half-Life Alyx. Yeah. And there's a certain physical feeling to it because you have really, really good audio design. Yeah. There's not a fucking other video game with better audio design than Half-Life Alyx. Like, there isn't one.
No, it is not capable.
What about Drakengard 1?
No.
Drakengard 1's music is all terrible. Editor, play some Drakengard 1 music.
Yeah.
Play that Drakengard 1 music.
Alright, yeah, there's only one.
Yeah, there's the one.
But Half-Life Alyx, music is my biggest complaint about it, but I know why they did it. Yeah. Music can be an immersion-breaking thing in a certain way, where when you start hearing music, it's not part of the game world. Half-Life Alyx does not have very Half-Life-y music. It has, like, cinema music, where when you hear cinema music, you're not listening to it. No. It just kind of feels the same way that thoughts do. Where they're not part of the world, they're part of your brain. You don't think about cinema music. Yeah. It just encourages you to do things. I listened through all of the developer commentary of Half-Life Alyx, and it was extremely insightful. Where they said the reason we didn't use, like, Kelly Bailey style music, where it's like a set piece happens, and then, like, the anime music starts playing, he said, a lot of players in the opening minutes of the game wouldn't even recognize that there's any reason to be moving forward, where they would spend 3 hours in the fucking laundry room because they just wanted to pick up everything and they wanted to throw it around. They wanted to squeeze the little squeegee bottle and hear it go like... That's all players would do, even though there was like this character who was knocking on the window and saying like, Alex, meet me over here by this fence gate. Players would forget about that because they'd get distracted by the fact that you can open up the laundry machine and then close it and then press the button and it would start going. Where oh my God. A lot of VR players had never interacted with the game in this way before. Yeah. At least the Valve playtesters. Yeah. Because Valve playtesters. A lot of these players were never played a VR game before. Yeah. And they thought it was unbelievable that they would like press a button with their finger and they could like feel it. Yeah. And then it would do something. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of items in the game are like that.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to step in here and say that, like, when it comes to, like, VR games, like, I am always happy to, like, do little shit like that and interact with the environment. But I think when it comes to, like, playing through a game, I don't think I could ever finish Half-Life Alyx.
Oh, Half-Life Alyx was rated to be finished in, like, 12 hours at most. I spent, like, 40 in it.
Yeah. No, I could probably do that, like, messing around with the little dumb stuff. But, like, I don't think, like, as a game, I could finish it, you know?
Yeah, what do you mean?
So, when I think of VR games, the games I'm most excited about are the games like that little Playhouse game that, like, Sony put out. That's, like, it's a 3D platformer, but you are simply the camera. You are the camera. You were sitting outside of the game world, and you are playing as the little man.
Yeah.
That is what I want out of my VR games.
Yeah, where it's like a little playset in front of you.
Yeah, I want to see the playset in front of me. I want to be able to, like, look into, like, what's happening in this world.
Where you're still pling a traditional, mechanically focused video game, but it's right in front of you. And if you see the little guy, you want to pick him up.
Yeah, I want to go, whoop!
I want to reach inside the TV. I want to touch it.
Yeah.
I love shit like that too.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, whenever, like, I keep thinking, like, what the inevitable Sonic VR game. It will happen, and I think it'll be in that style, and I think it's gonna be really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Because, like, it'll be like a little playset of, like, a classic Sonic game in front of you.
That would be
like,
fun.
You know how, like, Green Hill felt in, like, Sonic Adventure 2? I mean, the videos of it. Nobody's ever made it there. But, like, how Green Hill felt looking at it in Adventure 2, where you're like, this looks like Green Hill. Where it's like 3D and it's in front of me. Whoa, it's gonna be like that.
Yeah, but it's like
VR.
Like Sonic's running around on your desk.
Yeah, and you'd be like, whoa.
That's the thing. I think AR will actually be the mainstream thing. I think VR is kind of like, if AR is kind of what's going mainstream, AR is the console. VR is the PC.
Yeah.
Where, like, that's when you're serious about playing games. You sit down, you don't got no friends, you're into it.
It's okay, no one will have friends by that year.
Yeah. No, they'll all be in VR chat.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard for me to articulate just how much VR has, like, actually changed video games for me. Where, like, I still say I'm not much of a video game guy, but when I have the time, when I'm not, like, suffering every day at work, I play VR games every day. And most of what I'm doing with them is I'm in VR chat, I'm fucking around with, like, physics sandboxes and shit, and some of my favorite games are actually just recreations of locations in the world. Where, like, I have this one game where, like, I explored a very accurate recreation of a place in Iceland.
Yeah.
Or Greenland, rather. And, no, it's Iceland. Iceland is fucking beautiful. Like,
really? I've heard.
You look at Death Stranding. Death Stranding looks like Iceland. It's modeled after it.
Yeah.
Real Iceland is like 3 times as beautiful as Death Stranding.
Yeah.
And it had all these, like, weather effects. Like, you could see the fog rolling in. And, like, I'm not one of those, like, weird phantom touch people. Yeah. But I have like sort of like feelings of, like, what I'm seeing can influence my sense of temperature. And when that fog's rolling in all around you, I kind of feel like I'm getting colder.
Yeah,
Like, the VR games can touch those sorts of experiences. And I think that brings video games to, like, a level that they've never fucking been on. I don't even know where it's going to be in, like, 10 years.
I think it'll be crazy to see the developments. Like,
I think VR is, even though I'm a fucking massive shill for VR shit, I don't think it's at a state yet where a lot of people really understand what's so amazing about it. I think Half-Life Alyx...
It's getting there.
I think Half-Life Alyx is the most incredible gaming experience I've ever had, where, like, the attention to detail in that game, not just in interactivity, but, like, the world of Alyx feels like a place.
Yeah.
Like, when you're playing Half-Life 2, you can tell that they... like, you can tell that they kind of, like, boxed all of this shit out with placeholder boxes. They didn't even think about what this location was before they designed it, and it was all about the gameplay. Half-Life Alyx has that amount of game design attention while also feeling like a tangible, real world where every single aspect of it, it's like, you're in a train station, this is exactly how a train station would be. You could look at every single element and you're like, oh, they designed it this way so that people could go through the line in greater efficiency, and like the Combine had this going on, the Combine had this priority when they put that thing there. It's like, it's all of the level of the detail to the world building that Breath of the Wild has in a space of like a few hallways. Yeah. Like, it's all condensed there. Yeah. And it has the interactivity of like a video game from your fucking dreams. Yeah. So while it may not have a lot of meaningful things to say about your choices as a player, it really recontextualized the way that I even feel about interacting with game worlds. Yeah, and honestly, I think what you're experiencing now is what Half-Life players experienced back in the day. That's what I think. Like, they've done it again. I'm convinced Half-Life only exists to give players this feeling, and that's why it disappeared for so long. Because there was nothing They've new. Actually talked about this. Really? Valve employees have talked about a lot of the challenges with designing Episode 3 and Half-Life 3 after this game has come out, because they finally feel like they did it. Yeah. A lot of the challenge of designing Half-Life 3 in Valve designers' minds was Half-Life is a series that's always about defining what's a problem we can solve with, like, how game players interact with the world. Or how they solve puzzles, how they explore it, how they progress through it, how stories are told through them. Yeah. And the difficulty of Half-Life 3 was there just wasn't a lot of things happening in video game design that could actually be pushed to like demonstrate new experiences for 13 hours straight. Yeah. Half-Life Alyx is absolutely that. But it's the Half-Life 1 of VR Half-Life. I think Half-Life 3 is going to be like insane and also VR.
Yeah. And also not real.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think
VR is cool and all, but it'll never be more than a gimmick until the 100-hour JRPG comes out.
Honestly, I do want to know what the 100-hour JRPG of VR is going to look like. Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet. Yeah, I wanna see it. No, when I think of like what I want out of like a video game, you know, Nyuu talks a lot about like how the game is constructed. And like, I don't know, I feel like my vantage point, my like viewpoint on video games is like they're all about like it's sort of not just player choice but like player like action. Yeah. You know, like so like, you know, in the video game when I press jump, they jump, you know. Yeah. When I press the shoot button, they shoot, you know? And it's all about unifying the actions you're taking with the characters that you're seeing and the people that you like are interacting with and things like that. So like, I don't know, a perfect example of this, I guess, is like Yoko Taro's like video games. Yeah. Like Drakengard 1, you are playing as an insane man who cannot speak, who is depicted in cutscenes as like slaughtering entire armies of people and like killing like millions of people. And like you play the game and you're like the lamest fucking video game protagonist that has like ever walked the earth. The man Kaim from Drakengard is the most boring video game character. He is so boring to control. But then you move forward to like, I don't know, like fucking like Nier, the original one. And like you have Grimoire Vice with you. And Vice is like an all-powerful magical tome. Hey, can I have some of that tea? It's empty. No. It's empty. You motherfucker. I need a drink.
I'm sorry.
All right, we'll have to finish this up soon. Anyways, so what was I saying? Oh yes. So like you have like Grimoire Vice with you, it's like a fucking magical tome, you know, and like you feel like you're fighting alongside like the all-powerful Grimoire Vice because all your spells are launched through him. Yeah. A lot of animations going through him, and anytime you get like a boss health bar down, you do a little wheel thing that like actually defeats them. You get a cutscene where Nier and Vice absorb all the blood from the boss, and Nier summons like a big spell that like is a fuck you killing attack that like kills the boss. And like, you know, who this character is presented as in the story feels like it's lining up with who it is on screen, and you feel like you are controlling them, like you were able to step into their role, you know, like I guess for, like, Sonic, you know, like, a great example with Sonic is, like, Sonic Adventure, which is a game which is, like, super tightly designed in a lot of its platforming segments. And, like, you
you running like that, it's your ability that makes you able to go fast.
Yeah.
And this sort of continues throughout most of Sonic and even into a bit of the Boost games. But then you get to like Forces. And like Forces, there is no skill in moving fast. Forces is a game where you hold forward for 3 hours and the credits roll. And
I think there were parts when me and Chris were playing Forces where we literally just tried to see how long could we go without doing an input, and it was surprisingly long.
Yeah, it was a long time that you could just do that. And like that's why like Forces is so fucking lame, is that while you are moving fast, you don't feel like Sonic, you know? You don't feel like you're stepping into the role of Sonic because you don't need to do anything. You don't actually need to be able to do that. And I think that's maybe why Bioshock 2 resonated so well with me.
Yeah.
Is because in Bioshock 1, you don't really feel like you're part of the world. You just sort of go into it and experience it, and then you leave. And that's Bioshock 1. But Bioshock 2, you are like part of this world from beginning to end. And it's like, that's what I want to feel in my video game, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's something that's real cool about video games that I think games should be built around. Which is why I guess I'm not too stuck on, like, VR games being first person all the time.
Yeah.
When I first saw Astros...
I really, really want to play... I think you would really like this game.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but it's got the little mouse in it. Have you seen it?
Oh, yes!
Moss.
Yes, Moss.
Yeah.
That's
Moss
the
is
VR
really cool.
one, right?
Because Moss is you're a ghost man. And you control a little mouse with, like, the buttons and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then with, like, the triggers, you're a ghost man. And you have a game world that the little mouse is running through.
Yeah.
And you could literally pick up the blocks and move them around for the mouse.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's, like, a really fucking cool thing. And I really want to play that game.
It's cool.
I want to play that game probably more than any VR game. Like, when I saw that, like, I saw the first-person VR games, and I was like...
Yeah.
This feels limiting.
I'm still very, very interested in, like, the more traditional types of, like, camera outside the player games.
Yeah. I want to see more of what VR will do with that. That is what I'm excited about.
I've never seen one of... How does that even, like, work?
You are...
VR?
Think of it like it's like a 3D platformer or something, right? But you are the camera.
It's a fixed camera game where, like, you have a level in front of you and you're platforming through this, like, level and you're mostly puzzle solving, but you yourself are like a giant in the game world. Yeah. And while you can use the buttons and control sticks to control a player as you would normally before moving on to the next screen, you, the real person, can physically interact with the game world to affect how you play it.
Oh.
Yeah.
So imagine you have a play set in front of you and you have a remote control little guy that can platform around it. Yeah. You can, like, pull a switch in front of you, and now you have a platform in front of you, and you hold it there with, like, one hand. You now have lost a controller. You would now have one hand to navigate the little guy onto the platform before you can let go of it and use your other hand. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's like, I don't know. I want that to become more the norm because it brings you closer to the character you're playing as.
I think that's what a lot of mainstream VR games will probably be because that's what fits the AR model.
Like, I think the thing about video games and me is like I really want to feel that connection with who I'm playing as, you know? Yeah. Like it's why it's so easy to get me into a series where I play everything.
I think there is a lot of value with connecting to a player character.
Yes. And like I don't know, like maybe that's why I've spent so much time in FF14. Who knows? But like I don't know, some of the games that are best at this are like Bayonetta. Yeah. Where like flawless, like cool movement in that game is so easy to do. It like feels really super good to get into, and you can enter this flow state in Bayonetta really easily. And like I don't know, there's just like a lot like that in certain games that I value.
The things that I see about VR that I think have never been touched on before, and VR can't get to quite yet. Yeah. But we can get very close to it, is the theoretical point in time where VR is immersive enough that a player character is indistinguishable from the person playing it. Mm-hmm. Where certain kinds of VR games, not all of them, but certain kinds of VR games will more so be like the situation, you know, in like Full Metal Alchemist, if you watched it. No. All right, well, there's this part in Full Metal Alchemist where the teacher character says, all right, to learn how to be a good alchemist, you gotta have this experience. And they just drop them on an island and say, you're on the island now. And I imagine that VR games will be like, you drop a person on an island.
Yeah.
And the island is the game.
Yeah.
And
you play the way it is.
It's not about a character anymore. It's about what is the guy on the island doing in this world.
Yeah.
Where there's no distinguishing. Like, I actually seen these weird it's not mainstream yet, but there's these concepts of like, you have all these social games.
Yeah.
And a lot of people come to see the avatar they use as essentially being as synonymous with who they are as clothing they wear. Where people will become, this is like the sci-fi shit about VR.
Yeah.
Is people attach their appearance to their personality and who they are. And part of your appearance is the clothing that you wear. And in VR, that becomes very important to you, especially in these social games like VR Chat and Neos. And at some point, Janus was part of this.
Yeah.
Janus was the precursor. Janus was 10 years ahead of its fucking time.
I remember Janus VR. It was insane.
I didn't have the potential to reach it yet, but I think if Janus comes around in another like 7 years,
yeah,
Janus is never leaving anyone's lives for the rest of their fucking days on this earth.
Yeah.
But there's these concepts for programs integrated into things like Steam VR where you have an avatar character that you can customize and that hooks into games where you are no longer, these games no longer have characters. They have you.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel like I wouldn't like that as much. I want to get connected with the character I'm playing as.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of value with that. But I
Yeah.
think also the value of something like putting a person through an experience that is essentially indistinguishable from something that they have done.
Yeah.
That's something that VR is going to be able to touch on in about 10 years that video games have always been leading to but never been able to get to.
Yeah. I do think
that
it's
shit,
be cool.
That shit touches my brain in like a way that like that's kind of what I've always thought video games were about. I want to elaborate here to explain that I'm not trying to explain with this island concept, as I call it, or replacing a character with the player themselves. I'm not describing fully immersive VR or full dive, as it's called. I'm more so describing what I see as the major difference between VR as it already exists and traditional controller inputs, where a VR controller is still a controller with buttons on it and an analog stick, and things that you do on it translate to actions that get taken in the game world. But the difference is that on a traditional game, the controller and the controlled object are separate things, where you perceive the controller much like a remote controller for an RC car or something, where the player character in the game is the RC car, and the controller exists purely as a means of making the RC car move or take any other actions that would happen inside of a video game. But in a VR game, the controller exists in the game world, and you interact with it physically with your own hands. And so there's these two objects, your left and right hand, that exist inside the game world that you are able to interact with as yourself. And anything that you do with those controllers are things that happen in the game world, and therefore you're able to interact with the world in the same way that you interact with it in real life. The only difference being that while this object seems to exist in both the real world and the game world at the same time, as your eyes exist inside the game world but your body does not, actions that you perform on the controller only create effects inside the game world, whereas in real life they do nothing at all, because, you know, obviously you don't actually have a device that's creating like gun bullets or anything. You only have a device that is hooked up to a computer.
And so the reason why I say that we're about 10 years off, just completely random estimate, from creating more island concept type games isn't that we don't have the brain chip yet, or we don't have like all the weird fully immersive things that they have in Ready Player One. It's more so that the actions that a player can take, which are purely 100% like analog between their real actions and the game world, are limited mostly just because of the designs of the controllers. And to create a greater amount of possibilities for player action, you would need very expensive devices. I think technically already, if you just gave a player like a 360 treadmill and those like hand tracking devices where you could accurately track the movements of all their fingers and stuff, and gave them full body tracking so that they could actually move their legs around and stuff, and I don't know, maybe a few other things, you would now have a move set where enough of what a player does can be 100% analogous between game logic and player movements, that you would now consider the possibility of designing a game where nothing has to be abstracted through the remote controller type of disconnect. You can already design a game like this using existing VR systems. They are just a little boring because you're mostly confined to walking around the space of a single room and merely picking things up and placing them down and pressing buttons. So yeah, that's the reason why we don't use this concept yet, and we still create VR games with players, characters, and stuff like that. As well, I would just like to clarify that while I never actually in the podcast state explicitly what my favorite game of all time is, my favorite traditional TV video game is MGS3. You can't beat it. There's not a better one. MGS5, eat shit, sucks, game bad, play MGS3, it's good. Also, Half-Life Alyx is the best VR game, and we will never get a game as good as Half-Life Alyx until Valve makes, like, Half-Life 3 or something.
I one of the craziest experiences I've ever had with, like, VR, and you were there to watch this happen with me. It was when you had PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
And
which was the cheapest VR headset. Yeah. Like, that was the least immersive, but it still had that element.
Yeah. I put it on my head, and I was like, yo, Nyuu, open up the Miku. And, like, Nyuu sat me down with, like, the Miku concert simulator that they released. Yeah. And, like, I had a combination of both of these experiences, where it's like, I am me in this experience with this character I have always been connected to.
They're right there.
And I look in front of myself, and I'm like, that's Hatsune Miku.
I'm with Miku.
Miku is in the room, and I hit the button to, like, move closer to her, like, I think on accident. And I, like, could not handle it.
I was like, I'm right next to Miku.
Like, Miku's right there. She's looking at me.
I've actually had a lot... Okay, this is no longer about, like, favorite video game. This is weird VR shit. And we're about to end the podcast very soon.
Oh, yeah.
But in these times where I've kind of felt less connected to my real-world friends, I've always been trying to find out how to, like, replace them with internet people.
VR might be the way to do that.
That's the thing. I've reached a point, at some point shortly before I went back to real friends, where I was realizing I started connecting with people in VR chat. And I have full body tracking. I can track my feet, my hips, everything. Like, my movements are the movements in VR chat.
Yeah.
To the point where I've, like, had dreams where my body, like, is that avatar. And it's fucking weird.
Oh my god.
Like, cause when you move your foot and you see it wiggling around, that creates a physical connection between the object you see and your body. That's how our brains form most of our connections with our own bodies. And you can see that in things like the phantom limb, the phantom pain thing.
Yeah.
Where you attach a rubber hand to a person's senses by imitating movements. And VR can do that, where I wiggle my foot around and that foot's moving and it's where my foot is, and when I feel my foot touch the ground, the foot touches the ground, I'm now connected.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you have that connection to an avatar and you're hanging out with other people in a virtual space, it's very, very close to the feeling you get of hanging around with people in a room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm excited to give VR chat a try someday if I can ever get like a VR headset.
The problem is you need these high-end setups.
Yeah, that's the issue.
So much of this is going to be in the fucking Lane video.
Yeah.
I've decided I'm making a video about all the things on my 3x3 slowly over time.
Yeah.
The Lane video is going to be incomprehensible.
Like Lane. Oh my god, okay. I think we've said like enough. It's been 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Alright.
Even if we have more to say...
Yeah, we can save it.
Yeah. We're going to be on this podcast for a long time.
Alright, so, Nyuu, would you like to introduce the next segment?
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're going to wrap it up. I got to get my iPad because, you know what, we actually got a voicemail.
Wait, we did?
Yeah, we got a voicemail.
What the fuck? How did we get a voicemail?
No, what do you mean? This is completely expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, so second episode.
By the way, speakpipe.com/3baka. If you want to send in a voicemail, we'll respond to it on the show. This one is titled Long Time Fan.
Hey guys, I love the podcast. You guys should have 1 billion subscribers.
Thank you, longtime fan who is not me. If any of you other longtime fans would like to have something that we respond to on the podcast, speakpipe.com/3baka. You can just say literally anything and I'll play it. And I'll cut it out if you say like the N-word or something. Don't do that.
Yeah, please don't say the N-word or something. Oh my god.
But at least we will hear it if you're compelled to do so.
And I would like to mention, we did get a comment.
We also got a comment, which are lower priority. We care about the voices. But from Robert Anderson. Having a feedback section in episode 0 has a certain chaotic energy, much like this entire thing. That's really what I'm going for. This is a mess, and I hope you like it. And it appears that they do. As they specified, that was not a negative comment. I would talk more about the whole like chaos energy appeal thing.
Yeah.
If not for the fact that I need a drink, bro.
And it's been fucking 3 hours. Holy shit.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
That's enough.
Yeah, that is enough.
All right. We're ending it. This is the end.
This is
It's
the end.
over.
Goodbye.
Bye.